Now, heroin was a rich, kind of rich, you could get it, but you couldn't get it it wasn't accessible as crack. Crack changed families. You had now the postman was doing crack, the bus driver doing crack, and then when we got to like the 90s with Wu-Tang, they're doing wolves, you know what I'm saying? Lacing weed up with crack.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So the crack changed the family structure. Overall, because even in the 70s, in the heroin era, we were still being forced to go to Sunday school. You know what I'm saying? Now, crack got dad wild out or mom wild out and cousin wild out, and now that changed the family structure to the point where now we trying to get it back to where you were saying where everything, you got good stuff going on in the community. There's a lot going on, positive things going on in the community. The thing is that social media, which I actually truly hate, unless I'm promoting an event, it's the devil. All it promotes is toxicity. You could be saying, I just gave 10,000 scholarships to 10,000 black kids. You probably get 5 likes. But if you show some foolishness out there, you get 1 million likes. It's on YouTube, it's streamed, and guess what? Our kids see it. Back in the day before before social media, our parents could shield us. We only had 5 channels. Technically 4, really, it was no cable.
2, 5, 11.
Really.
I had
and
3.
Channel 47 had Menudo on Friday nights. Real talk.
And you had to watch it through the little grate thing and change the antenna. Yeah.
Now,
What was the one that you could get? What was it? 69 pics?
Oh no, that was Video Music Box.
Video Music Box.
You can get that late at night.
Yeah, but that was Friday night video.
The thing is, the dope part about it is you did say something that I fully agree with, because when I was in junior high, right? You talking about, like, I graduated high school in 96, right? So when I was in junior high school, behind my junior high school, they had ciphers. Like, they had Die X on them. Some of the X Clan would come down because one of the guys that was members of that lived right behind my junior high. So we were there listening to these dudes, talking about being righteous, talking about being positive, being pro-black, doing, and then we had a lot of 5%ers, and we had a lot of the Israelites. We had a lot of guys that walk around. It was all about being kings and being ultimate blackness, not knowing that while they were saying that, it was really being embedded in our head. But nowadays, you're not finding that no more, because even the songs used to say it, right? We set him for self-destruction, self-destruction. Like, they was telling us what was going on, but those songs were making hits. But once they realized the negative worked, and the negative was able to influence the community, that's where they started to push, right? Because if you think about it, the news is negative, right?
Always.
Right, my cousin is one of the, I ain't gonna talk about what he do, because he probably don't want me to say, I ain't gonna say his name, but he big at Fox, right? And I just talked to him, I said, why the news always so negative? He said, you could have an old lady walking across the street, right? And a guy help her out. Ain't nobody really watching that. But if the old lady walk across the street and that guy steals her purse, and then somebody grabs the guy that stole the purse, now everybody gonna watch that. So that's part of the entire culture of the whole society, the way that we watch things and look at things. We look for the negativity, look for drama.
I looked at this thing both ways. Especially since the post, I've had a lot of conversations and different responses. So like I was telling my kids, and I think that's something we may or may not share enough with our kids, is what you did go through, what your histories were. I share with mine, I tell my son just this morning, I was talking about the podcast and my 14-year-old, and I was like, I remember when he was in Germany, my mom gave him, raised us solo, and, we were able to do a lot of things because, she's full-time in the Army, but on a part-time, she was cleaning quarters. For people in the military, that means before you move out, you got to clear your quarters. And so that thing got to be spick and span, before you leave there. I'm talking about everything from the rooter to the tutor got to be clean before you can clear your quarters. And I was telling my son, I remember just, on my bicycle, having to ride around with brooms and mop buckets. To take it to my mom say, I need, go get a broom, go get the mop bucket. And I'm like, man, I got to ride around the neighborhood with a broom and mop bucket on my bike. You know what I'm saying? But, but the same token, as you get older, you realize what that sacrifice was and what she was doing it for, and you become more appreciative of it. You know what I mean? Like, dang, man, that's how we went on them trips. That's how this happened. That's how that happened. You know what I mean? Because, you know, she was doing it on her own. So, you know, so sharing that with my kids over the years, you know what I mean? But for me, I'm you know, I spoil mine. I ain't gonna lie to you. My kids are you know, that word privileged, I guess, for lack of better words. You know what I mean? They don't. I don't want them to work. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna lie to you. I told my sons, your job is to go to school, get good grades, be responsible. You know what I mean? But at the same, and I don't have, you know, I got 120, 118, 114, and there ain't no issues. You know what I mean? I don't have discipline issues. You know what I mean? You know, my mama used to whoop us, man. You say about child abuse, good Lord. You know what I'm saying? You know, and the older you got, so she got to wrestle with you. She wait till you went to sleep, and you wake up. Wow. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So by the time you got up, she got about 4 or 5 good ones in. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, when you got it up, we old enough to grab the bell, like, come on, man, what you doing, man? Hey, but she already got them lashes in. You know what I mean? You know, but I never, you know, I've never had, you know, it's been not a bunch of them. You know what I mean? I got my kids to point. I got all boys, so you know, at a certain age. You know, it got chest thumping time. You know what I mean? When you swell it up, I'm going to 1-2 you in that chest. Make sure that joke is good and deflated. There you go. And then it's over. Right? You know, you know what I mean? And there ain't been no issues. You know, and they've all had to get it. They've all had to get it. That 1-2, boom, boom. You still want to say something? It's over. Right. You know what I mean? But, you know, I think it's a lot of it's the communication and what these things are for. You're getting X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? But these are your responsibilities. These are, you know, they've done the sports, they've done all those things. So, you know, I've been like going to mind like, well, would they be struggle in life because of they really never had to get, you know, because a lot of peers working at Walmart, working at Target, you know what I mean? You know, and I remember Alec wanted to get a job one time. I like, for what? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know, what you want to, I want you to focus on your grades and your activities. I want you to focus on. You don't need anything. You know what I'm saying? You don't need anything. He wants to be able to spend his money, get a little card, and buy these doggone video, all that BS on the computer, you know what I mean, without having to ask for it. And I appreciated that. You know what I mean? I appreciate the fact that he wanted to do that for those purposes. But my point is, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, I have no issues. Your mama have no issues. I'm okay with doing X, Y, Z. You know what I mean? And so, you know, I've been mulling over. Is it good? Is it bad? Will it hinder them later on? You know what I mean? Like, but you know, y'all know Alec is a go-getter.
And that's what I was going to say.
Where Aspen is, but Aspen is just the opposite. Aspen is just the opposite.
Yeah, he laid back.
You know what I mean? He's laid back. You literally got to kind of, not force feed, but push him. I won't even say push him, but he just won't do things on his own. You know what I mean? You know, like Alec did his whole college process on his own, where Aspen, you know, his mom had to step in and make sure this was filled out, this was done, you know what I mean? Just, you know, I don't know, man. It's you know, and Ace is right there in the middle. It's like he got a combination because he's the baby boy, you know. So
like I said, it's a real fine line. Hey man, y'all give a call in 404-500-1605. I don't know if y'all know this.
Close that door, Ben.
I don't know if y'all know this, but Michael Andre, I know. Yeah, I call him Tommy because you never know what the dude does for a living. He's jet setting all over the world. You know, he has a great life, but his nickname is he's the teenage whisperer.
Okay.
He actually, you know, is like an expert on speaking to teens and, you know, and all that type. He's commenting. I'm hoping that he give us a telephone call so he can talk about it a little bit. But, you know, like I said, with the way the culture is now, with kids having so much access to so many different things, I think more communication is needed between parents and children because of the simple fact that they're getting so many, like I said, negative vibes from the news, negative vibe from social media. Because, Lord, we know they're going to be on. So, matter of fact, they're on some social media that we don't even know about. You know, kids got these other little chats that we have no idea what they are. You know, so it's kind of, you know, the way we were raised, you almost have to adjust the way you're raising your children now because of society. You almost have to adjust it. Now, disciplining, I don't believe that you should adjust that part. I'm like Angelo, I can count the times I had to get into him 3 times. 4. One time at his mom's house, but 4 times in his whole life I had to get at, and it wasn't a 1-2. Usually mine was 1. Just one real quick one right in the middle. He a little dude, he a little skinny dude. Little shoulders would come in, and I ain't have to worry about it too much more after that. Any other time, I just grab him in the collar. But like you said, for us, I mean, belts, cords,
Switches.
you know, switches up in New York. It wasn't no switches. It was cords.
Extension-
My mom was a
It was extension
Yeah,
cord.
yeah, extension cord.
We ain't had no switches up.
My mom threw an iron
The only
at me.
tree that
My
we
mom
had,
threw
the branch was too high. So, I mean, it was belts. You know, might be a extension cord. My mom threw a bicycle chain at me one time because I never did it again either. I went in her purse and I took some money out to fix my bike. Boy, she knew exactly how many coins she had. All I took was, usually I would take like quarters, nickels, and dimes.
Yeah.
This time I took a whole $5 bill. Man, she came out that door. I knew that I was caught when she came out. And I just took off. She grabbed that chain and
So let
as soon
me.
as she came out, I knew that I was caught. As soon as she came out.
It's
You know,
finito.
it just, you had a certain respect. And you also knew, and like you were saying, that Unc was saying, there was no options.
Right.
Kids today, they have options. I can go stay with grandma. I can go stay with Uncle such and such. You know, all I got to do is,
Yeah.
you know, they have these options in their head. So that's why I think they test parents more now because they feel they have options. We didn't have options.
Right, but if you had an option, the option was still gonna go coincide with your mom saying. So if you try to run to your uncle's house, what your mother said, right? Nowadays, their options, they're like, well, you gotta kind of listen to your kid. I don't believe in all that. But Letharius, you was making some good points.
Hey, bro, he just hit me with the Letharius.
Yeah, Letharius, you made some.
He just hit me right here.
Yeah, you made some key points, Letharius. I mean, JT. But Letharius. But one of the things too, what you got to really think about, and what I struggle with right now, is realizing that I grew up with just a mom, right? So some of my behavior used to be to react right away, but now it's hard for me, but I still do it. I listen to them and let them be able to talk to me, right? And what I'm teaching them is dialogue. Now it's hard now because I'll be ready to be like, man, what you stupid? Oh, you crazy? What the? But I like, all right, what's up? You know,
Yeah, you
how does
asked
that
why
make
they
sense?
did. Why'd you do it? Just tell me the reason.
Tell me why. But my mom, there was no why. It was
No,
just
sure
like
wasn't.
it was just like before, she beat me over thoughts. She was like, cause I know you was thinking something. Yeah, she like, nah, you gonna get it. I was like, well, I'm about to get hit. What I do? Bro, she'd give me the eye for no reason to see if it work. I'd be like, yo, why she give me the eye? Cause you know the eye mean you gonna get your ass whooped. And when she give me the eye, I'm like, why you just give me the eye?
Oh, got it.
She's like, yeah, you think it's something.
But before the caller gets on, I want to kind of touch on something real quick.
1 second, caller.
And
That Letharius said.
my thing is, I think that, you know, like you said, you don't want your kids to work. Are you making it bad or good? I feel that our parents' job is to make sure that our kids are prepared for when our eyes are forever closed, that they can operate in this world. That's how I feel. I feel like my parents are gone. Both of them are gone, but I know they rest in knowing that they prepared me.
Right.
So that my mom wasn't trying to fight to live. She, you know, although she didn't want to leave, she knew that, okay, hey, my son's going to be all right.
Right.
And I think my dad, the same way.
Totally agree with that.
So that's why I feel that a parent's job is to make sure, when they say God bless a child has his own, our job is to make sure that they could be prepared to have their own. So that's
100% agree.
what I just want to say.
You ain't something deep, and I know you about to get to the caller, that I'm actually doing now because Atlanta's been real great to me. I know I told y'all this, that I ended up finding a brother that I have that lived 2-3 blocks away from me, but he's much young. He's younger than me, and my boys were looking out for him. Make a long story short, I'm learning a lot about how my dad raised him. And sometimes I listen to what he's doing with my nephews, and I'm like, okay, I get something, and I understand because when he talks, I get an understanding of what. And I don't know why I understand it, but I always make sure I try to talk to guys that had their father, because to make sure I'm like, yo, am I bugging? And I got a circle, guys that I call, and I ask them like, yo, Sean just did this, I'm about to go at him, and they be like, oh nah, chill out, this and that and other, and it actually helps me because they were raised with a dad, so it's helping me with what I got to do with my kids in a sense. Not saying what they do is 100% right, but it's more of a, hey, yo, listen, let's have a conversation. Yeah, plus my little man box now. I can tell you that story later. That's a different story. Like I'll tell you about what happened.
Get to the caller.
No, when I sparred with him on Saturday and it wasn't a good look.
Caller, how you doing?
I said, I'm your father.
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
All right. Hey, man, y'all be quiet. The caller's on. Hey, yeah, hold on for a sec. Hey, man. Yeah. Boy, I tell you, man. Caller, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Doing all right. If you want to state your name, you can. You can give us a nickname, or you can just stay anonymous. But what you got going on?
Well, I think it's a very interesting subject going on.
Oh, I know what that is.
Mm-hmm. Me growing up as an only child raised by a single mom, I can relate to what Angelo was talking about as far as, I guess, the toughness from the mom, because a woman trying to raise a boy to become a man is a very tough job, and they come off really strong. And, I kind of look back on some of the things that happened to me as a young boy growing up. I remember asking my mom, hey, Mom, can we stop by Dairy Queen and get some ice cream? And my mom stopped. I'll never forget. It was stopped on Camelton Road right at Mount Gilead, and slammed on brakes and said, boy, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to get deodorant tomorrow. You asked me for some ice cream. So those are things that I remember. And, as far as I can remember, my mom had 2 jobs. So work ethic was something I saw at an early age, and it's really carried over with me to where I am right now. But going to the boys, I got 2 boys, and both of my boys are taller than me. They're about, my oldest is about 6'4". My youngest is about 6'1", 6'2". So at a very young age, I made sure that they knew who ran the household. And when I say I made sure they knew, when I say I made sure they knew, when they stepped out of line, they understood that I was going to jump in their chest. Now,
that 1, 2.
On the flip side, yes, sir. But on the flip side, I've tried to raise them. It's okay to be upset. Hey, it's okay to be mad. It's okay to be all that. But you need to be able to articulate what's going on inside your head. Because what I do not want is for you to leave my household and walk around with frustration and anger built up and with the inability to articulate what's going on.
That's a fact.
That creates problems, especially with black men. Not being able to handle emotions, not being able to talk about those things, not being able to say, hey, man, my feelings hurt. Hey, man, I'm upset. Hey, I'm mad, because it's okay to have those things. But when you have those things and unable to process, unable to handle them, that creates problems in society.
100%,
so,
100% agree.
Oh, yeah. And I definitely agree with my man that was saying our job is to raise them so that they can stand on their own 2 feet and, create their own path in life. I do. And I think about some of the things, Lo, you were saying, your kids are privileged. I mean, I'm going to be honest, my boys don't really want for nothing. As long as they handle their business, they don't really want for nothing, Both of them had a car in high school. They both graduated. Both have moved on. So, I try to provide for them and tell them, hey, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, Daddy got your back. You know, I got your back through thick and thin. So I do agree with you on that. I do, and I do have those thoughts. Hey, man, am I creating a monster or creating not some good habits by, you know, let's just be honest, spoiling them and making sure they got what they need? I try to talk to them and understand, let them know, you know, the things you have are because of the work that I do. I mean, I go to work. I mean, Lo, you know, I work a lot. I don't mind doing it because, I mean, as fathers, that's our job, to make sure the family is good. So, but I wonder about those lessons. Did they miss those lessons? You know, they never had that, hey, man, I'm trying to figure out how we're going to keep the lights on. They never had that conversation.
Right. Right.
And I'm with you on that in regards, you know, as I sit and think about it, you know, I was a non-custodial parent, but I don't think, as far as I know anyway, my son had everything that he needed. But there's always that, as a parent, there's always a small doubt in your head if you're doing something correctly, if you're doing it enough, if you're doing it too much. I think we all think that way. And that's a good thing. I believe that. I totally believe that's a good thing. With me, with my son, it's just like, well, I almost said your name, caller, but just like the caller said, I actually grew up, you know, single mother, and once it happened, she didn't slam on brakes, but that same type of scenario happened with me and my mom. I asked for something, and she told me what she was trying to do. Now, I had a little sister, and she told me what she was trying to do, and it hit me then that what she was doing and why she was doing what she was doing. And it actually got me to a point to where I stopped asking for anything. Now, I got a lot of things. I probably did some things that I probably shouldn't have done to get them, but I never asked her for anything, you know, a pair of pants, or a shirt, or whatever. I never asked for that. I did, and she didn't ask me to. I actually did go out and work to get it instead of asking her for it. I had grandparents. They actually helped me out in the shoe game department, but you know, it's sometimes it's that moment that comes along, and I can't say for young girls and women, whatever, but I know in regards to being a boy, once you see something and get an understanding of what's going on, you do everything that you can to not put more pressure on your single parent. I never wanted to put, that's the reason I went in the military and then go to college.
Right.
Is because I didn't understand that if you went to college, you still was gonna have some money in your pocket. I thought if I went to college, I was gonna get a room with a bed, and I was gonna have football gear or basketball gear, whichever one I chose to do. I had full ride scholarships, but I went in the military because I knew in the military I would not have to call home and ask for anything.
Right.
You know, that comes from an educational standpoint in regards to where I grew up at and how they did not let us know of the advantages of going to college. I looked at going to college as a hindrance instead of looking at going to college as something to actually make me into a better person. Because we wasn't educated that way.
And that's deep because my mom, she's a single mom, right? My mom just basically let us know she had a good job, but she didn't care about the material stuff. Now you growing up in the city, you need in your mind, I need Nikes, I need some Converse, I need them Reebok pumps, I need them Class Sports. Like I need that stuff because in your head, like I can't go to school looking crazy. But my mom, when it was time for school, college, books, all that other stuff, she right there. She'll give it to you. But the other stuff, she tried to keep instilling in me like it didn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? But when you grow up in that community, in that environment, it does matter, right? It's something else. It's a different type of struggle. That's why you said, I went out and I got it. Because you needed, at some point you felt like you needed to have it. because their idea of my mom come from Trinidad. So her idea is I come from Trinidad, y'all living here, I'm putting shoes on your feet, I'm putting clothes on your back, and I'm sending you to school. All right, that's cool. But you got me living in Brooklyn where I can't go outside looking crazy because it's going to be jokes. That's why I'm a comedian. I had to learn to be funny because she was dressing me crazy. I'm like, yo, nah, I can't. Are you kidding me? Like, y'all first I got glasses and I'm chubby, and then you gonna put this on me? Nah, I gotta go get something else. I gotta change my gear.
Cat became a comedian from pain.
Yeah, pain. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying, Letharius?
Coping mechanism.
It's a coping mechanism. But the thing is, when it comes to these kids, we gotta realize, like, even if you say that they're privileged or whatever, they're still going through a different type of struggle, right? They're still going through something. So even if they're going through something, the mindset is when you reach adversity, how do you handle that? And that's what I deal with my kids with when it comes to sports, when it comes to life. When it comes to adversity, when it comes to things not going the way that you want it to go, what do you do now? Right? Just because we're talking about it might have been this way because we didn't have money or this way, it's still the same thing. But it's something that you got to instill in them, like you got to figure out how to go get it.
Well, let me read something because that kind of goes back to the topic. What we have, what we're talking about. Are we keeping our kids from saying they got out the mud, like this brother just said? Yeah, they go get it. My mom was working at B. Altman's on 34th and 5th as a shipping clerk. Do I have any idea how she put me in Catholic school? My father was a bookbinder and then lost his job and became a security guard. Do I have any idea how they had me in Catholic school, my 5 brothers? When my mom lost her job, she didn't sit back and start crying. My mom started cleaning white people's homes. So I come from a background, like this brother said, is, okay, if I'm seeing my mom figuring out, okay, I got to do it. My mom was cooking dinners for the barber shops and the gas stations, and I'm making her menus on the weekend to give out. You get what I'm saying? So I grew up seeing both my parents figuring it out.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't sit there and cry and whatever. No, they're like, shit, I got 6 mouths to feed. How are we going to do this? What am I going to do? What's my skill set? What am I good at?
Right.
Let me try something else. Since this didn't work, let me try something else. And it goes back to pivoting. Our parents learn how to pivot, so we learn how to pivot.
Right.
But when we give our kids everything, they don't know how to pivot.
But they're going to learn a different way, though.
Okay.
Because their pivot is going to be something else when something else happens.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Because our pivot was different from my parents' pivot, right? Because my mom, everybody here, they parents, you know what Mary Kay is. How come we all know what Mary Kay is? Right? My mom was selling all that.
And Avon.
And Avon.
Yeah.
What about Tupperware parties? How do we all know about what a Tupperware party is?
Or Amway.
Right?
Amway.
Right? What about all them? I remember my mom had a friend that was doing lingerie parties. I'm 10. I'm loving this. I'm upstairs like, can I help? You understand what I'm saying? But they was doing different things, but that was their pivot. So now it's a different pivot, but it's still a mindset that when things get rough and things not going the way you want it, right? What do you do?
It got this guy, Anthony McIver. I went to high school with his brother, man. A couple years younger than me, went the whole fam, a light fam. But he says, so what do you do when your kids are academically sound? Their focus is learning, so I allow it. Once, and if I see a dip in academics, I definitely will intervene. But with a graduate from West Point, Clayton State, 2 from Georgia State, sometimes we as parents have to evolve.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Unlike most people, I didn't have. Although I did walk on in college to play basketball, I was a bookworm. My parents, that was my hustle. My hustle was education. So my parents put everything in me to work on education and to learn, for me to learn how to speak. And that took me to a different level. So I'm big on education. If you have kids that are scholastically gifted, they're preparing themselves for this other world, out there. You know what I'm saying? Because that's a different hustle. We know how to get it, but when you get out in corporate America, that's a different type of hustle because now you get back out there and now you got other things going against you. You a black man.
Correct.
I'm bald head with goatee. You got a beard. You know, we all over the place. And you going into something that ain't designed for us to be in, so that we got to work harder to prove that we ain't average. You know, so I'm all about any parent that has kids let them do that. Let them go to school and let them grow or whatever. And yeah, when you see it shifting down, okay, first let me identify what do we need to work on to get you back to this, and then also find out what the end goal. Sometimes school may not be for you. You may just be doing it because I have instilled in you to do it. You know, but at the end of the day, if I got 4 kids and they're all scholastically gifted, they get their degrees, guess what? You have one more leg up in this world than some other kids who just said F it.
So now think about it, right? Even if you're scholastically gifted, right? You're gonna go through adversity. Cause they're gonna go to a point where you're gonna get an 80 on the test.
You got to. Yeah.
Now are you gonna fold and be like, oh, the world is over? So there's always that.
That's true.
There's that thing. It's that little thing that you gotta kind of be like, hey, now, are you gonna fold? Or are you gonna say, hey, I'm gonna figure this out?
Yeah.
So no matter what it is, it's all of figuring the whole life thing out.
Right.
And that's what the kind of thing that I kind of do with my kids, and I use sports because I'm a big sports guy.
Sports is the best.
My kids play ball. I do all that. I'm big on that. But listen, everything ain't gonna go your way, and when it don't, only the strong really survive. So either you gonna say I'm gonna figure this out to do something to contribute, or I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna just sit there and be like, nothing I'm doing is working. So now that shows me your character. You get what I'm saying? And when they ask me, Daddy, what's my character? I'm like, no, well, your
what was his
character's
name
weak
again?
if you fold.
The one that you just read from.
Hey, excuse me, gentlemen.
Yeah,
What Anthony was saying, I think in regards to evolving, I think what he's basically saying is evolving in regards to the way society has changed. In regards to what I was we started talking about something else. In regards to the way we were raised, we really can't raise our kids the exact way that we were raised because of the difference in society now. Now there's some things you can take from the way we were raised, but you cannot raise a child the exact same way we were raised in the 70s and 80s and apply that now.
You should not.
You shouldn't, but what
cannot,
sense?
because some people still do it, but I agree you should not.
You shouldn't do it. You can
should
try
not do it.
but usually there's going to be a disconnect because let's face it, usually as you're talking about, your mother had a lot of jobs. Your mom was pivoting. My mother had a lot of jobs too. But back then, we also, what we spoke about, which is something I speak about all the time on the show, we had a village. So we had people that could govern us accordingly when your mom's was out on her second or third job. Now, if a parent has to have 2 and 3 jobs, her child is pretty much in this, her or his child, I don't want to keep saying her, but the child is now in this crazy world that we have right now with all of this information coming to them that they can now pick out of anything that they see or read to do. And there's no village to keep them from, you might not knowing they picking the wrong thing, they picking the thing that looks like it's a lot of fun. And then you end up in some type of trouble. So this is why I say, I feel this is what he was saying in regards to evolving and changing up. Like we had the guy in here, the comedian one time that was talking about old school, some of the old heads, they always come around saying you should do this way and do that this way, even though we think there was a little bit more to it. But but it makes sense that, once you keep trying to tell them that this is the way I did it or this is the way it should be done, sooner or later they're going to stop listening.
So let me ask a
Especially
question.
if you don't have, if you can tell them that, but you can't show them that.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? It's one thing to say, this is the way it's been done, this is the way I did it, this is the way I was born, this is the way my mama, this is the way my dad, this is the way my granddad, you know what I mean? But then the kid looking at you like, but where you going with this? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What can you show me that's different than what you've already dealt with? If you did this your whole life and you haven't gotten any further, you still living in mama house too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? Why would you continue to do
Right.
it the same way? And I think we have those.
Or why would I listen to you?
Yeah, why would I listen to you? You know what I mean? What do you, you know what I mean? It's just because the way it's been done, because I think we all took those lashes from our parents, and our parents had the exact same stories from their parents, and their parents had the exact same stories from their parents. It just this is how we do it. You know what I mean? But at some point, what Anthony said about the evolving is okay. You take aspects, you pull from. Okay, I can discipline, but I ain't necessarily got discipline like this.
Okay.
But plus,
I can discipline like that, and it makes sure my point still gets across. You know what I mean? And then as fathers, you know what I mean? And it's wonderful when you have those fathers in the lives, you know what I mean? Where, you know, as fathers, we don't get necessarily the initial credit. You know what I mean? If mom's there, the kids they loving on mama. You know what I'm saying? They loving on mama. His mama is mama. You know what I mean? You know, they'll ask mama something. He be like, what's your daddy? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
What you asking me for? What, you know what I mean? But that's just the way it is. You know what I mean? And it's because we have to be fathers. We're not friends. We're not buddies.
No.
We are fathers.
That's
you know
a
what I mean?
fact.
At the end of the day, that's how they're gonna. So
What's that favorite line? I'm gonna call you daddy.
Yeah. But you know that
Boy,
don't happen no more.
you want to see a kid get straight?
He's right.
You know what? It doesn't happen as much, but
It don't happen.
because I want to dispel the notion that fathers are not in kids' lives. You ain't got to be in the house to get a phone call.
Right.
So
I
it
would
does
agree.
happen. I got the call a lot of times. And
What
my
I'm
son got to
saying
the
is-
point to where he didn't think I was going to drive out there. I finally did.
Yeah.
After that, every time she said it, he straightened up.
So there was a couple
not to
things.
cut you, Sean, but Ben been holding that mic. Go
Oh,
ahead,
Ben,
Ben.
go ahead. Yeah.
He done ran to his mouth 4 times. I wouldn't let.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
It's okay. I'm the residential millennial in here. So I see how y'all treat
Oh, yeah,
us.
he is a millennial. That's
Exactly. You know, first off, that was disrespectful, brother. All right. You disrespected all millennials. I'm speaking on the millennial delegation. I know you're not. It's okay, but you might be after this conversation. It's okay, brother. It's okay. I know you from the TD Jake's coalition. I understand. I got you. Trust me. This is what I'm gonna tell you.
Got you.
When it comes down to generations, millennials, everybody blames us for everything, which I think is funny because we learned a lot of stuff from y'all and the new society as well. So we middle children. So we see both sides. So I understand. Realistically, your parents were, 2-3 degrees away from slavery. If you kind of think about it. Like a lot of the concepts is slave mentality, not saying that it's a thing of the discipline didn't work, but it's like the reason why they did it is because their grandparents, great-grandparents were taught that because that's how they got discipline. So it got passed down. So when it got to me and me having kids, I have girls. So of course, my whole thing is I don't yell. I actually laugh at most of the stuff because I think it's comical. The problems they have is simple. It's like, oh my God, Dad, the Wi-Fi's out. What? You can't watch YouTube. That's it. Okay? So I understand the whole thing of like, I'm listening to everybody's opinion on, dang, I feel bad for these kids. I really wouldn't worry about them. I really wouldn't. The reason why is because the notion of what they see the world as is what we don't see. They're going into the future. What we're still talking about is what it used to be like. They're in a world of overstimulation. Everything they do is streaming. Everything they do is music. We have more music on the radio than we've ever had in years. James Brown would probably make hits right now if he was still alive. And he was doing the same music back then they doing now because James wasn't saying nothing. Please, 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 please. He did that for 30 minutes. That was a song. They doing the same thing now. So overstimulation with songs, TV, information, is how you curve that. So for me, just speaking from millennial, instead of me taking away the stimulation, is what I give them. Instead of saying, okay, No YouTube. It's what you're watching on YouTube. We're going to watch it together. All right, you're going to learn about your body. You're going to learn about what to eat. You're going to learn. All these things are accessible. It's about the hands-on approach. Me and my kids are friends. At the same time, I'm still a dad. I'm hell because I talk to my kids like I'm talking to y'all. I don't do the whole, well, I'm your daddy. I'm like, what the fuck was that, bruh? My daughter look at me, well, daddy, I was just saying. That's how I talk to her. I talk to her straight up because my whole thing is to prepare you mentally for the world. Like you were saying earlier, which is probably ingenious, where it's like academics helps them prepare. Like when you're getting your kids ready for academics, that's beautiful, all right? But when they get in corporate America, it's a different level of shadiness, demons, and other things they're gonna deal with as black men and women. It's a different level. You know, we've all experienced it in some form or fashion, and we had to either look at them like, well, you know, I beat your ass in here, right? But you had to hold it together because you know you got a family, you got a job, and then you're gonna get represented as the angry black man. Oh, you knew he was gonna be aggressive. It's something like that. We always get tagged with that. So these kids, I really feel like they don't have to worry about that. These are the type of kids where you can say anything to them and they just like, oh, okay, cool.
That's the part I worry about.
But see, and that's the thing though. You shouldn't, because even though they say it's okay, cool, it's not that they're internalizing it like, oh, I accept what you're saying. No, they're like, what you gonna do?
Yes.
You just gonna say words to me?
That's a fact.
Bro, whatever, man.
See, that's the part that I'm worried about.
Okay.
Because you're not listening to the words.
No, they are.
See, well, no, he just said that you just gonna say words to me. That means that, whatever.
Yeah, because they more like they're desensitized to you talking to them like saying words and it's bothering them. They're gonna be like, oh, that's what you're saying? All right, so I know how to, he's saying that I know how to do, I speak Benneth.
Thank you.
You know, he's basically saying, I know how to deal with you, right? So you said X, Y, Z, I'm gonna hold you to that. Because my kids do that. I remember, I hear exactly what you're saying.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, but okay, and I'm gonna break it down because kids, this is what they say.
Well,
hey,
say,
man.
okay, cool to me. I'm be like, all right.
No, but
I speak Benneth. He
but see,
speaks Sean, I speak
this is what they
Benneth.
do too. They don't even say okay, cool. Their thing is, all right, say less.
Say less.
I mean,
Because they heard you, but they hit you with say less, and they're like, I'm
say
done.
less, I can deal with.
Right, but that's what I'm
Because
saying.
they heard what I'm saying.
Because they'll be like this,
they hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Say
There's a
less.
difference. I had to supervise millennials, and I hated it until I really took the time to realize the way to. You can't tell a millennial anything,
You cannot.
but you have to recognize their intelligence because they're a hell of a lot smarter than we ever were because they really see the hypocrisy behind a lot of things that happen, and we never did. We just got the cut and dry America, apple pie.
Damn, I agree with you.
And so now they actually are more astute on certain subjects than us. But
Yeah.
the only thing that I think the kickback is not when they have a father like you, or not when you have a father like you, but when you have a father that isn't there, absentee, or you have a mother that goes to the same club that you go to, or you have a situation where the mother's working so much she's not there and there's no father in the picture. I think then you have a person with a lot of plans and it's like a ship without a rudder. It's just sailing around in a circle, or everywhere the wind takes it, but there's no wind. The wind now is the internet. So whatever comes up, how many times you send working with millennials, you see that something can come up, the latest and newest thing come up, and they will cold turkey the next day. If iPhone came out with a ass for your nose because you can smell quicker, guaranteed every officer in my roll call would have an ass on the nose the next day.
Absolutely.
And would be able to explain to you how many your ass nose is only 5 megahertz. You needed a 15. And once you see that, you can deal with them. So, but what I really worry about as far as they think they invented black pride. And I think what happened, let me finish.
No, go
Let me
ahead.
finish. And like, I love Black Lives Matter, but I was there when Black Lives Matter started, when it was originally AU Center Kids, and it wasn't hijacked by other groups. Because I was a SWAT commander in Atlanta, and it was Clark, Spelman, and Morehouse students going arm in arm, and we followed them around the whole city. It wasn't until the media got on it, and that's when the anarchists came down. That's when white groups, when the riots came around, were pulling into town and handing out bricks. There wasn't an ounce of violence. I remember when I told this story before, when the news person was there, and I'm sitting there posted up, and he passes every single. They had Kappas, they had Spelmanites. He walked by and found the one infected on the corner who was half drunk and other two infected, and talked to them and gave the message. And that's when that guy, they came out and said, fuck the police and all this stuff. There wasn't nothing. They would say, officer, is it all right to go down this street? This way, you want us to stay off the sidewalk? Okay, we'll get back on. And they get on the bullhorn and they get back in. So media misrepresented everything. And I think a lot of now, what happens with black youth, this is a black show, with a lot of black youth, they're rudderless, so they look for their guidance from 2 Chainz and Lil Wayne. You know, some of the influences, really, whoever has the most influence is a person. Now, some of them are good, but some of the influences that hit them and they run with it aren't good influences.
Well, yeah,
Right.
you go first.
So there's several things that I see. You know, you made some key points, and I agree with a lot of your points. But you gotta remember, we come from an era where Black lives didn't matter, right? And it still don't. You get what I'm saying?
Hey, mark this down the calendar. Sugar Sean agreed with Ashley Cobb.
Yeah, this
on
is
several
like,
points.
yeah, Mark down the track. I don't agree with nothing he said. The thing is, I feel like as you get older, right, you focusing on the scenarios and things that happen, right? But you got to understand that the mindset is something that from your grandparents, great-grandparents, whatever, you got to instill a mindset in the individual. You understand what I'm saying? No matter what's going on, if it's computers, it's this, that, whatever, if you're not equipped mentally to deal with the adversity or whatever's coming to you, you're not going to succeed. You get what I'm saying? I think as we're older, we're like, okay, we grew up in the crack era. All right, I grew up in Brooklyn. Yo, I know how to move in the streets. I know how this, da. Okay, forget that, but it's certain things that I learned about people that doesn't matter because I applied that in corporate America. It's a mindset. But we focus on the scenario and the situation. No, our kids ain't walking around a bunch of crackheads. Our kids ain't going through situations where they got to fight in school all the time. They're not going through that. Right? But what happens when that situation, you encounter that situation? How do you recognize that? But it's by telling them and teaching them a way to think. You see, I think we so focused on, yo, you're not gonna go through this, you're not gonna go through that, because I went through that, and my mom say have this, and now y'all got all this because we giving you everything, but you're going through something else.
Yeah, I mean, you got a valid point. You know, I do agree with you on that. You know, I'm going to touch back to what he was talking about first and touch back what you said. It's about the influencers. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm blessed to be one out here with the stuff I do at Monticello and Bermuda Bar. And, you know, one thing I was taught by Thomas Dixon, who runs that, he said, you know, the main thing is people will follow you. If you have a following, he said, Donald Trump, one of the biggest assholes in the world, but he has a following. Adolf Hitler, one of the worst people in the world, but he had people follow him. People will follow you. It's the influence. So now let's fast forward to, say, a Kim Kardashian who is influencing these little girls. Or, like you said, a 2 Chainz or a Lil Wayne, you know, influence these boys. It's totally different than KRS-One influencing us.
It's Sadat
Or,
X.
That was
or Sadat
positive,
X,
though. That
or
was
Chuck
positive.
D influencing
Right.
us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That was all
Even when the rap was about fun, it was different when we had a Kid and Play influencing us, saying it was okay just to have fun and dance. So the influences that are out here in the world today are different, and that's something that we have to fight against and train our kids, that we can't keep you from all influences. We can't keep you from the YouTubes and everything else. But we could probably tell you, hey, you got to be able to make the right decision on which channel you're watching, or because you want to get to a point where one of your peoples is going to be doing something that's going to be totally different than what the values that we're instilling in you. And you're going to have to make that choice. Now, one thing our parents always said to us that kind of goes in line with what the millennials are saying, hey, if you get in trouble, don't call us. In other words, that's basically saying that you're going to have to figure out you're going to have to there's a point in time where you're going to have to make a decision, and I'm not there. And so in other words, that our parents was basically telling us the same thing. It was just relayed a little bit different.
Right, they didn't say I'm gonna die.
They didn't say I was gonna die. We just said, you know what?
Yeah.
If you get in trouble, you get arrested, do not call us. That was that moment of truth. That, okay, you know what? If I do this, then if I get locked up, I can't call my parents, because if I call my parents, it's gonna be worth to me being locked up.
My mom's a little different though. She said, "Tell me the truth." My mom's got me out of some stuff. She said, "Tell me the truth, so I know how to go deal with the situation." She said that straight up. And when I got arrested, I was like 14, 15, whatever. And my mom's came down. Before she got there, she pulled me to the side. What happened and what did you do? And then I told her the truth. And she went in there and raised hell, and they got rid of all that shit. But the thing is, we talk about all the influences, right? We got to focus in on we're the main influence.
Agreed.
I got to get the likes in my house. So I'm not getting the likes in my house. Now I got a problem. Like, yo, you really not listening to me? But what Ben said, because I call Ben when it comes to my kids. Ben is on the phone with me and my kids because I got to talk to somebody young. I'm like, yo, am I bugging? Am I old? And Ben might say, yeah, you old. Right? But Ben be like, yeah, you right. But how about you just talk to Sean this way? How about you just talk to Kennedy this way? And guess what? It actually works. And they be like, yeah, Mr. Ben be knowing what he's doing. Why you don't listen to Mr. Ben? Dad? They be like, he ain't your father. But it's the truth.
Right.
So let me ask this question.
Oh, wait, let me go over these comments real quick.
Go ahead.
Michael Andre, one time he said, you can't raise your kids like you were raised because that world no longer exists. Miss Key Legree, she said, yes, it is. It's different times.
Okay.
And then this one here caught me, Michael Andre, and I told you he's the teenage whisperer. He said, if a flower does not bloom, you don't fix the flower, you fix the environment.
Oh.
Deep.
That's
real.
That's real. And I want to say I agree with you in regards to the content and everything.
Yeah.
You can't limit it. But you have to be there. Something I used to tell my nephew and my son too. Things that you see in that box, hey man, it's play.
Right.
It's play. It's not real. Don't think that you see it in that. Now, I'm not saying you can't strive to have some of the things you see in the TV, but understand what you see, everything that you see in there is not fact.
Right.
Fact is it's shit you can touch.
Right.
Shit you can really, once you hear it, you can actually say something back to it and it respond to you. Like saying something back to the television, they ain't gonna respond directly to you to what you said. Because, I remember oh man, I want a chain. I want that chain right there. I'm like, man, you're 8. Snoop Dogg had that chain. I want that chain right there. Like, dude, it's all not real. All of it is not, that's not life. Not saying that you shouldn't strive to be able to get something like that, but right now you have to recognize what's fiction and what's not.
And there's nothing wrong with telling that child no. That chain is something you're gonna get when you're an adult.
Hey.
No, you can't get no tattoos right now. You're in high school.
Yeah.
No, you're not getting all those ear piercings right now. You get that stuff when you're out of my house. No, you're not wearing these kind of pants. Not in my house. You're not. No, you know what I mean. That's where I think the disconnect comes from. Like I said, my kids spoiled. However, they know. I know how to say the word. No.
No is the most powerful word in the universe.
It's
my son sent me a picture.
How you say no as well.
Some shoes. Well,
yeah. How you say no?
Sometimes it is based on the question.
Yeah.
Cause my son asked me for some $300 tennis shoes. I said, boy, you done lost your natural mind.
No. Hell no.
You think I'm gonna buy some $300 tennis shoes for you to have scuffed up in 2 weeks? You lost your natural mind.
It goes back to what this brother
Now
said.
you can go find you 3 pair of shoes for that same $300.
And I wish I had
That's
that
how I rock
in me.
with
Hey
them.
man,
I wish I had it in me. I done bought my
rack
daughter
room
Alexander
shoes, buy one
McQueen's,
get
all
one
kinda-
half off.
But see, it goes back to what he said.
Yeah, I just-
It's about the influence.
Right.
And the first influence is us. Me, I'm from the Bronx. I still have that poor person mind state. I can't fathom spending, I hate spending money on clothes. Actually, hate the shit. I'd rather travel and see the world.
No, this is real.
So because again, that's it depreciates the moment. It's like a new car.
Sure.
It depreciates. Like I told my youngest son, I'm like, now that he's on his own and paying rent, I said, now how stupid was it when your mom was buying you $200 pair of shoes? Now you looking at it different because now you got to pay rent, and now you're looking at it different.
Absolutely.
Because guess what? When you was 10 years old, that $200 pair of shoes lasted you 5 months because your foot was still growing.
Right.
So it's almost like with life where you mature, and then you get to that point and say, okay, hold up now. Like I said, we talk about our kids. We never talk about how to manage money.
There you go.
We talk about people
Got
say
to talk
manage
about that.
situations, but I'm although I'm old school, it's about how I talk to my son. I'm very real with it. Because my pops was very real with me. He was comedic with it. It wasn't like it's my way or no way. My father knew how to, because you got to know your kids.
Yeah.
You got to know how to address them, the pressure points and things of that nature.
Absolutely.
Some people just need to be screamed at. Some just be like, all right, let's have a conversation.
Absolutely.
So it's all about every kid is different. But the main thing is that this is something I don't think people has talked about. We talk about influencers, but we need to start teaching kids how to manage money. And it starts with
I
us.
agree.
We're the first thing that they see. Because there's white kids right now, their parents have them set up with like $250,000 life insurance policies. They got that when it was a baby. And had that money just amortized and just grow so that when they passed away, guess what? They're already paying off their homes. Their next generations are set.
Right.
What do we got? We got I got an attic full of my mom's clothes still in my closet. I can't sell them shits.
But that's a fact. But them white kids is buying them $300 shoes too.
Right. But
So
the
to
point
think
being,
about
they
this,
have to
think
have
about
$1
this,
million
right?
policies, too.
Back then,
They
the
got the
$300
means to do
shoes,
so.
you got to teach them the financial intelligence. You got to, and that's a fact, right? But when you really come from these kids, it's what they $300 sneakers are today was what a $100 pair of Jordans was back then.
Right.
And JT just said it. I ain't gonna get my moms to go get it, but I'm gonna go get it. So what makes it different now? Because of the number?
Well, I think
It's the number, right? It's the price, right? But things go up in price, so it's still the same mindset. Like, okay, you're not gonna get it from me, and that's the thing that I'm afraid of. Like, I don't need you to. All right, if you do something right, I'll get it for you. You get what I'm saying? You do something right, I'll reward you with it. But I don't need you to feel like now my daddy ain't gonna get it. I got somebody else gotta go get it for
I
me.
agree with you.
Because I got daughters.
I agree with
You understand
you.
what I'm saying?
I agree with
So
you.
the last thing I
But
want is somebody to come and be like my daughter asking some Alexander McQueen's, daddy ain't get it, but yo, this dude wooed her with it. Now, earn it, do something right. You doing the right thing, listen, I get it for you. You understand? Because you're gonna try to get it anyway.
Right, I agree with that, but I also think that's where we can't have our kids be our parents. I feel that we still have to be the parent. We still have to put our foot down and set that stage. And yeah, we don't want our girls, especially girls. We don't want our girls going out to, because I know where you're coming from. We think the same way.
Man.
I see exactly, because we from New York, so I know where you're going with it. We don't want our girls going to the cat on the corner trying to get that shit, and that's their new daddy. I understand that. But at the same time, I think it's all about our environment. Right. I think it's also how we make sure that, hey, we let our kids know, yeah, you may want this, but let's work on some things. Let me show you exactly what you're actually wanting. Now let me teach you, and then maybe you teach me, and let's teach each other. Because, while you're talking to me about a $300 pair of shoes, I can just say, hey, you know what? Google stock split back on July 20-1.
Oh, yeah,
And
I do
now
that.
It went from 2,000 to now it's at 114 today.
Right.
So that $300 sneaker that you want that's going to depreciate, why don't we put that in some stock?
So
But
what
see,
I ask is this: the question is this, right?
'Cause
I'm
there's
like,
Robin Hood out there.
do you want me to give you $300, these $400, $500 sneakers, or do you want to put the money in your bank account?
Well,
Right?
see,
Now they got
hold
a
on,
decision to
gentlemen.
make.
Hold on,
Right?
gentlemen. Hold on. See, like I said, elder millennial here, because
I'm coming to your question in a minute.
speaking
Shay.
on
I got you.
the millennial delegation again.
Delegation.
So y'all know the way and I can speak for my delegation as a whole. The way we really deal with these kids and finances, we don't even talk about money. I know I personally started mine with like going to round one, the video game place. by teaching them how to keep their tickets. You're gonna come back to this place, right? Yeah. Okay. Why are you spending all your tickets this one visit? I don't know. Exactly. We're gonna be back next week. So save your tickets. It got to the point where they had saved so many tickets, they were just spending, I'm just spending 300 tickets this time. We'll be back next week. By the time, we left, even we still have cars that's sitting there with plenty of tickets on them. You get what I'm saying? So it starts with little stuff. Then it's like, okay, all right, you watching YouTube. Okay. While you watching YouTube, why don't you make your own YouTube? It's encouraging them, like you said, the influence, right? So influence them. If this is what you like watching this, won't you be this? If this is what you want to do, because if little Tyler here is making $2 billion with playing with stupid ass Transformer toys, and this is boring to me, but somehow every kid in America is watching this kid. Mm-hmm. You influence your child by telling them, hey, you know what? Let me invest in you this way. Because sometimes we can talk to them about money, but kids are like, I don't care about money. You got it, right?
That's the problem.
I
get what you're saying, because I've done that. The problem I had was you like doing that? Okay, well let's. That was Monday.
True.
Thursday it was something else, and that's kids.
Yeah.
But in regards to money, the way I got to get to this young lady's question here. In regards to money, I told my son, all right, listen, I'm gonna give you $10. Mm-hmm. What you gonna do with it?
Shit.
He was ready to go spend it all. I said, no. You're gonna take $4. You're gonna put over there in that bank that I bought for you. The other $6, you do whatever the hell you want to do with it. And it worked, because my son has been out now on his own for 3 years. He ain't called me for no money yet, so it worked. He's stingy. Dude don't like spending money. I almost hate that I put that in him. He got it in him a little too much.
I'm with him.
But now, let me get to this question here. Shay Lockhart, she
What's
said,
going on, Shay?
she has a question. When kids are stripped from hardship, do y'all think that entices them to do scams and other things to keep up a certain lifestyle without hard work?
Of course.
That brother said.
Yeah.
Of course, and that's the
A
thing.
good point of view.
Right? So my kids, they know daddy get to it. They hear me on the phone making deals. They know what's about to go on, right? They know that I got something going on. They like, mommy, daddy about to do what? He doing this. But at the end of the day, now I got some of that material stuff, right? I drive a nice car. We got 2 nice cars. I got all that stuff. I like that stuff. So how am I going to tell them, like, you shouldn't like it either? That's what I want to understand. Like, because the reason I go get it is because I didn't have it, but once I turned 19, 18, I got it, and I don't ever want to fall off. So now it's like, if my kid come to me and they see me and they asking for something, now the thing is, it's going to be more of a reward to you, because now if you really want that, why do you want it? All right, this is what you want to do. You feel like you fresh. All right, cool, but what did you do to deserve it? That's how I do it. But I like the material shit. I'm a nigga. I'm sorry.
You're an infected.
Well, you see, the problem I found
I want
with
it all.
See, the only issue I have with it, and this is projected because we're all talking about families, and everybody up here is successful. Everybody out there is successful. How you doing? And I just had a compliment tonight. But no, but this issue I have on it, there's like 2 different groups of millennials. They're the ones that are woke as hell, and they believe in health. There's so many things. Like, I call my kids all the time and say, okay, I'm trying to lose his gut, what I need to do. The diet I'm on now, my daughter told me about it. But the issue I have is that the ones that didn't come from loving parents, or have a parent that works too hard or came from a bad situation, they still have that loosey-goosey attitude too, but it's not towards positive things. Right. And they get themselves worked up into, you'll be surprised the number of young people that are involved in scams that's gonna get them 18 to 7 years.
Of course.
And there's so many of them that are doing the fraud and whatever, but there's a lot of them that are just got this rage inside of them because they've got all this knowledge that they get in, and they realize how bad we've been treated through all these years. And they lose a part. The only Malcolm X picture they know is the one he's in the window, but they don't never take time to read his book.
Exactly.
They just get snippets of it, and they think like I'm talking to them now. I talk to a lot of millennials because my position, and a lot of them think he was militant and violent, and he wasn't. He was never violent.
They don't know nothing.
And so that's the part I mean about they're woke, but they're not.
Right.
But there's a lot of them that carry a rage because of that, and they listen to media. Just think about last week. We had a show, and we talked about a lady that was arrested in the park. If that second half hadn't came out, I would have been lynched on the show.
Facts.
Now, we're adults, so we can talk it out, and it's all good. But when the millennials, they see stuff, they're under this mistaken notion, like a lot of adults are, that people are getting beat every day, or this is happening, or that's happening. Oh, it's just so terrible, it's so terrible. And they have that rage in them, and a lot of them, like you talked about, they don't know how to act out. They don't know how to control their emotions. And I think PTSD is prevalent in our youth today, and it hasn't been kind of like diagnosed yet. But I see a lot of those kids that feel like they got the weight on their shoulders and they're 14.
Well, see, I think, let me go back to Shay's question. That's my people out in Birmingham tuning in. That's some of the people that was really getting on my case.
Yeah.
But either way.
Yeah, we had a couple of comment up here.
Shout out to her for her question. But back to the scams, you know, I'm going to talk to my brother here from Brooklyn. You know, the kids who were stripped of hardship, back when we grew up, they started selling drugs. They were hustling on the corners.
12.
You know that.
Of course.
You know, so that's so I know where.
But see, those kids wasn't stripped from hardship.
No.
They had hardship the whole time.
No, exactly. But I'm just saying.
But what she's talking about is a child that doesn't have any hardship.
Okay.
But then when they become a grown-up,
Right.
they resort to doing scams and things of that nature.
Well, then, you know, that's kind of goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning about kids not being, you know, if we give them everything, and when they get out in the real world, they don't know how to decipher what to do next. So they're easily led to do something because
The moral barometer.
you know, it's lack of exposure. You know, so again, you know, hey, I had everything given to me. I haven't had no consequences for anything. So I'm gonna live life as if I don't have any consequences. So that's how I kind of would answer that question.
In regards to a question, I think that as long as while they're not having that hardship, they understand why they don't have it, and they see the reason why they don't have it. And let's use Angelo as an example. His kids know why they don't have it. Because, I mean, bro, I've been knowing this cat for years. He's in the club all day. And he ain't partying.
Right. He working.
He working. So the kids that the hardship is stripped from, if they're actually told, and probably should be told, you know, yes, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do that, and this is why. Because I'm doing this, that, and the third. I think those kids will not be so inclined to go into the scam world because they know that it can be gotten legally because they've been told, they've seen it done.
It goes back to what he said.
Yeah,
It goes back to
they've
what
seen
he
it.
said. He likes
They've
nice
seen it
things.
done.
He likes nice things, so they see him.
If you want the nice
they see him
things, you got to
getting
do it.
His
Yeah.
kids see him getting it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like prime example. You know, I had my youngest son. You know, when he came down to visit, we had Elder Barton concert, and I had him at the sound check. But I only go in the club when I'm at Monticello Bermuda bar. I tell people I'm only here for one reason. I'm not here to party. I'm here to get paid. If I'm not getting paid, I'm not in the clubs. Plain and simple. You don't see me partying. I don't drink. So I don't smoke. I don't do none of that. So my thing is, I brought my son with me because I wanted him to see exactly, hey, this is my side hustle. You already know my day job. I'm in IT. So you know my day job. So he's going to school to do the same thing I'm trying to do, that I do now, in Oracle Financials. But I said, this is my side hustle. And he saw the checks being written. And he saw me go to the bank and deposit that check. You know what he said to me? He said, Dad, I want to get a side hustle like you. So in other words, because he saw, one, he knows
That's
my
right.
story.
They gotta see it.
He knows where dad got it from the mud. He probably heard some crazy things from his mama about his dad that I dispelled those notions. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, he was 20 years old. And for him to say that, he said, yo, you're my idol. So it's for him to see, he said, I want to get those side, I want to get a side hustle. I said, son, you already had side hustles. You were selling brownies illegally. You were selling candy illegally. You already got it in you. So now you want to try to figure out the next side hustle. So again, it's what our kids see. His kids see it, yours see it, yours see it, yours see it, mine see it. And again, it's like his kids, they see it too. Even the millennials can see it.
That's
but
right.
Again, it's about what we're showing. If I'm showing I'm selling drugs in the corner, guess what?
Right.
9 times out of 10, if I ain't locked up and you don't see the repercussions of it, you're going to do the same thing.
But there's a difference when the guy back in the days was selling drugs, though. He was selling drugs, he was hustling, but he was showing his kids a different way. Nowadays, it's kind of like they're trying to put them in the same family business. That's not the goal. It's like, yo, I did this, so you don't got to do that,
Exactly.
right? But the thing is like you said, when I showed my kids money I made, I could talk them about stocks, I could talk them about cryptocurrency, I could talk about everything. You got to show me. That's how my kids are. They're like, all right, daddy, you talking, where the money? Let me see. And when I showed them some money, they was like, oh, daddy, get into the bag. Okay, daddy, now they're more inclined to learn or what's going on. But I created the monster, right? Because at the end of the day, they see daddy get into it. They see daddy buying material things. But we American and we live in America, right? Everybody want it all, right? It's an American culture. So to say that you don't, at the end of the day, you get some money, you're gonna buy something that you always wanted. Because you feel like you needed that. Once you got a little extra, that's how America works.
Go ahead, Vanetta.
Wait, real quick.
What's up? I know y'all got other things going on. What's up, JT? How y'all doing?
What's that? We're going to put this real quick. Michael
What's
Andre,
up?
in regards to what you said, he said, hood niggas forgot the goal is to get out the hood.
And you know the bad part, we get out the hood, but we still got that mentality. Like, yo, I need it all.
Hilarious.
I left the hood, but yeah, I mean.
I want the biggest house. I want more.
Shout out to all the 7 niggas that's been here talking and the 1 female that can't get on real quick.
Hey,
What I gotta do?
No shade.
Who I gotta hug to talk
Is she a
real
millennial?
quick? I am a millennial.
What is? And you know what? Tell me what is a millennial?
I think
please.
you need a millennial perspective.
What is a
What do
millennial?
you? I mean, I
What's
think.
the age? What's the age?
Being leading the millennial coalition,
Yeah,
so
what's-
you can go on.
What's the
85.
age? What's the age criteria
Anything
of a
after
millennial? Because
85
I don't like calling people millennials. I
After
don't.
85, they're millennials.
I mean, anything that's not a boomer is considered a millennial.
28,
So
40.
After 85, because Generation X is my
JT,
generation.
probably 10 years after you. Just go there.
Nah.
that's
I'm
Generation
kidding.
X.
Probably a lot more than 10
See, I was trying to give you a few
If they
years.
born in 85,
Cause you be
they're
playing
millennials.
characters that's 40. Can I say what I have to say, please, sirs? Please.
81?
Could I just say the little 30 seconds I got? Thank you so much. So, in terms of what y'all talking about, and I've been here for a brief description of it and everything, but I just kind of want to address or entertain the perspective of a kid that hustled that didn't see anything in front of them. Because the last 20, 30 minutes, all I've seen or heard was what people have had displayed in front of them, right? So I think that there's a moral responsibility of every individual to, we have dreams, it was all a dream, used to read Word Up magazine. There was not a Biggie before there was Biggie. There was not a Vanetta Schofield before there was Vanetta Schofield. Hi, I'm Vanetta Schofield. How you doing? So there isn't that, and I never saw that. And I also did not have a dad. I ain't had no bald head dad. None of these niggas got hair. Shout out to Angelo. The only nigga over here got hair. Bald headed niggas over here. I didn't have a bald headed nigga with a little money that had a little job, that retired, got a new house. I didn't have that growing up. So in terms of what you're talking about and what you're talking about people seeing, I definitely see that as a fact. But also there needs to be something that there's a responsibility that people have as kids and that people have, and there's a light that needs to be shined on people who didn't have that as a role model growing up and took that initiative and became what they wanted to see and the change they wanted to be in the world, like Obama said, type shit. So I think that that's something that we haven't explored since I've been here or talked about. That
So where did it come from then?
Yeah, 'cause we said that earlier. Like,
No, but where did it come from?
What come from?
Where did that motivation come from? If you didn't see it in front of you, then where did it come from?
The motivation came from actually wanting to see it. the desire to want to see it, the desire to have that, the want to be the first. I'm the first one in my immediate family to go to college. Like, I'm the first of that to have that. My dad, my mom, there was a lot of generational curses that they were trying and attempting to break. They was 2 kids at 19 fucking at McDonald's. I'm a McDonald's baby.
Oh, really?
I'm a McDonald's baby.
That's the
So
first Happy
most
Meal.
McDonald's babies don't make it to
first Happy
create
Meal.
their
That's the
own
first Happy Meal.
businesses
Hilarious.
and do that. I'm the first of my name. I'm the first of, I'm a Ronald McDonald scholar. But on some real shit, like that motivation definitely comes from the desire to make it out. And a lot of billionaires, a lot of people who we look up to did not have a high school diploma.
Sure.
War of the Worlds was like one of the main box office motherfuckers. Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise, none of the main motherfuckers in that movie had a high school diploma. So let's shine a light on some of the fact that like a lot of the peers and the people that we look up to did not have role models and did not see that growing up and that aspired and were motivated by what they didn't have.
Now, let me ask you this.
That's it.
I know you said you had the motivation to get out or to do better. Where did you see that at? Did you see that? Did you see it on television? Was it a book you read? Something that let you know that there's something else out there that make you want to do something different?
Nigga, y'all ain't watch Reading Rainbow? I mean,
No.
I can't do anything. I can go anywhere. I mean, take a look. It's in a book. I read books. I saw things. I believe I'm a little girl to believe in fairy tales. I mean, all the shit I saw, Beauty and the
The
Beast,
reason
all
why
of
I
that.
asked, Mike said that kids can't do what they don't see. So,
That's a fact.
like you said, listening to you, I knew that you had to get it from someplace else
Yeah.
to become the first, that type of deal. So,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it's a lack
great
of
college you picked, too.
experience.
Great college.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
So here's the thing. My mama never went to college. My mom helped me write my personal statement to get into college.
And it's amazing that, it's like I said, there's parents that didn't go to college. There's reasons some people
Yeah.
didn't go to college. I told y'all mine, but there's, like you said, your mom didn't go to college, but she was able to help you write that. There's a lot of, like I said, all these mentors of Spielbergs and all these people that didn't graduate high school, but were still able to do, sometimes that can give the wrong suggestion.
To distort their mind because there's only a
Because some
select
people can
few that
say,
could do that.
okay, I ain't got to go to high school. He didn't.
Yeah, nah.
It's not it's not
that's when
about a
somebody
select
got to come
few.
in and correct
It's
it.
a select few
I just want to address that.
can
In
do
terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of making it millionaire status,
Yeah, but it's
a
only-
lot of let me just address this really quick because
All
the
right.
world needs average thinkers. And when you really, really get down to it, the most of the people that are making money and have 401ks are average thinkers that went to college, got a degree, and have a job.
That's fine.
Those are those people. But in terms of the real niggas that make it, those are the anomalies that can drop out of school, say, fuck this shit, I'm making it on my own.
Right.
And those are the Forbes, those are the people that actually
And
make
that's
it to that status.
And that's a
Yeah.
select few in the amount of people that are in the population, right? So everyone's not gonna be an entrepreneur. Everyone's not gonna be that. And I don't fault someone for having a 401k. I don't fault someone for getting a job. I don't fault someone if they feel like I'm gonna work, I'm gonna take my money, I'm gonna make my investments, but I'm fine with work for somebody. That's fine because everyone's not an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying?
You used the word anomaly.
I mean, you can
Yeah,
calm it.
and
I said,
anomaly makes
I
a
said an
select
anomaly.
few.
You can calm down on the Brooklyn because we acknowledge the fact. We talking about Steven Spielberg. We talking about Tom Cruise. So when I say those names, when I'm talking about that, that's acknowledging the fact that all those people aren't going to make it there. What I'm talking about is the fact that 6 bald-headed niggas have said the same thing, that it's about what people see. It's about what people aspire to be.
Let me.
I'm sorry.
Hold on. Let me just.
I mean, it's 4, whatever.
talking about
Yeah, let me- hold on, Sean. Let me-
Three bald-headed
Do you
niggas.
have
Let me
kids?
just.
If you
let
don't
me-
have kids, you're not going
wait,
to
hold
say
on,
that.
Hold on, Sean.
Okay.
Let me just correct you on something.
Yes, sir.
Because you came in telling the conversation.
Yes, sir.
The beginning of the conversation was it was discussed about the difference of getting it out the mud
Yeah.
by not having seen it, not having something around you, not having those things
Of course.
versus now where you can show them, right? So you're talking to a bunch of bald-headed gentlemen with hair.
I'm just kidding, y'all. I love y'all. Stop it. We're having fun.
all came from not being able to see it.
Of course.
Because you didn't have, your family was struggling. Your parents were raising you, and you're having to go work for it. You're having to go do extra chores. You have to do this and that because you didn't have it. It wasn't seen versus being able to take your children now at this age and give them and let them see it. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where you might have missed it at, where we're saying we're giving both sides of the scenario of people who didn't have parents that were able to afford giving them whatever they wanted versus, you know what I mean, having parents that can at this stage.
And the thing is,
so I think you just kind of missed that point. But let me just ask this question to the millennial side of the house. And because of some of the comments, where do you think this sense of entitlement comes from? Or do you think there's a sense of entitlement from this millennial generation?
Of course there is.
I mean, I think every generation has a sense of entitlement. And I think every generation that hasn't, you got to work a job to understand what it's like to work at that job.
A sense of entitlement means I don't think every generation has a sense
No,
of
I do.
entitlement.
I will say boomers and I will say older.
I don't agree with
Personally,
that.
I will say there's this, you youngins don't know shit about this and you don't know this. He just said if you don't have kids, you don't understand. So there's a certain level of you don't understand and you don't have this sense of this or whatever in terms of generations when y'all have experienced life without cell phones and we don't know what it's like to not have a cell phone or to not have these experiences. So there's a certain level of perception as reality that no generation will understand of that generation because they haven't lived through those said things.
Sure.
Right.
So that's something we need to acknowledge just off the rip of that.
The fact of the matter is, if you don't have kids, it's a fact that you haven't raised kids. So if you don't have kids that you're raising, you won't really fully understand or be able to digest what we're talking about with the struggles and what we're dealing with raising the new generation, right? So if I got a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a 7-year-old, so there's a different level of way of thinking that I have to deal with because I have kids. So it's okay to sometimes, this is where we're saying entitlement, right? It's okay to fall back and say, well, I ain't got kids, so I'm not qualified to talk about how to raise a kid because I ain't never raised one, right? So that's what he's really saying. There got to be some level that you're going to be able to say that, right?
I mean, I get that, Sugar Sean, but I think your perspective is only talking about raising kids. I think what I had to say and what I shared had nothing to do generally with having kids in one perspective and one fashion. And if we're also considering, and if we're also considering what I suggested and what I promoted, I cultivate a whole entire community of grown-ass motherfuckers of comedians that I nurture. So in terms of like nurturing, I get that, but I'm not talking about just having kids in general.
That's what the conversation's about.
No, but what I think is we have a divide. We have a divide where you say millennials, whatever age group that is. Because I'm like Jae Tea. I don't like calling people millennials.
I don't.
You know, it's like, you know, I hate being called OG, and I'm only 49 years old. But, you know, but my point is, I think we have a divide. We have a divide where this generation feels that, okay, we're the entrepreneurship, and we're the entrepreneurship generation. You know what I'm saying? And we look down upon the quote-unquote 9 to 5. No, I'm just saying in general. Not saying, I'm just saying that there's a divide. And it has to be a happy medium. Because at the end of the day, everybody's like this brother said, everybody's not built to be an entrepreneur. You know why? Because like we said earlier in the show, it takes work ethic to be an entrepreneur. Because just because you got an idea don't mean that it's going to pop off in a year or two. You got to have that work ethic, and then also you got to have that drive that when that shit is still 5 years in the tank, that eventually I'm going to keep grinding to get it. Some people don't got that grind, and that's not generation specific. That's just in general. That's in general. But what I feel like we are at the thing is like this, more or less. There had to be the person who is the 9 to 5 or the 401k.
You have to have that
to be able to give the younger generation things that they never had, because then that built up the next generation. So
That's
it
a
had
fact.
to start from that person. From, say, slavery.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because the mama who went and cooked and did housework to get to the next generation for the kid to, like you, I'm the first person in my household to graduate college. My parents barely graduated high school. You know what I'm saying? I'm being real with that. So I understand that. But it took them to get to me. And then it got me to get to the next kids. And that's where it's like, okay, hey, what am I passing down? And as well as, let me learn from you to see exactly what you're trying to do. And I think that sometimes we get to the point where we point fingers at each other compared to saying, okay, you know what can I learn from you? And then what can you teach me? Because now we're in the information age.
Right.
That's a fact.
So I'm working
Right.
in IT, so I understand the information age.
Right.
So we're not in the Stone Age days, pre-cell phones. We are now in the information age. So what can I learn from you? But guess what? You're gonna learn a lot from me.
Right.
You're gonna learn life experiences from me.
Absolutely.
That technology can't teach you.
Absolutely.
And I think that's time the younger generation kind of tunes off and thinks, oh, I got this on YouTube. No,
Yeah.
motherfucker, I am YouTube.
That's right. That's a fact.
Well,
And what you're saying is a fact, because a lot of the younger generation, the problem is that shit is garbage, right? They say, yo, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Yo, I'm fine with that. You getting money? Right, but you're gonna knock the person that's making $200,000, $150,000 a year, but you making $20,000 a year. Why he gonna listen to that? Right? So and you can't knock them. I'm all for the hustle. I'm all for the grind. I'm all for going to get yours, but I'm not gonna knock somebody that's getting to it day way. Cause my thing is, however you get to your money is how you get to your money. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care how you get to your money.
I think
but I'm not gonna knock you.
Hold on. We're gonna because of their sense of entitlement, we're gonna let the millennial get the last word on this.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Thank y'all for the. First off, thank y'all for that.
We got a caller too.
Hold on. It's good.
Go ahead.
I want a word.
What do you say?
All right. What's up, fellas? This is Michael. Andre, what's happening?
The teenage whisperer is in the
Michael
building.
Andre? Yeah. What up,
There go your uncle.
I just,
What up,
yeah, it's actually been a really good conversation. And one, I appreciate the millennials that are on site there, kind of giving their point of view. Just to correct my lovely sister, after the baby boomers, there were the Gen Xers and then the millennials, which ranged from 1981 to about 1996.
I'm generation
So they range from like 26 to 41. It's kind of like the millennial age.
Yeah,
but I think to get to that question about why are millennials so entitled, that's a really good question. I think that, my perspective is that when you look at millennials, there's 4 things that you have to consider. 1 is parenting, 2 is technology, 3 is impatience, and 4 is environment. And just real quickly, parenting, the generation before tried this, what could only be really described as a failed parenting strategy, telling every kid that they were special just because they were who they were, telling every kid that they can have whatever they wanted. They got medals just for participating. You didn't actually have to come in first or second or anything like that. And then all of a sudden they grew up and they hit the real world, and their entire world got changed because they realized they weren't special, or they were only special to their parents, that you don't get anything that you actually want in life. You have to work for it, that you don't get anything for coming in last place or anything like that. And parents can't actually solve all of your problems, can't make you get a promotion, or make you, the person that you're in love with be in love with you. And so there were some things that your parents couldn't do or couldn't fix for you. And so that kind of really, instantaneously shocked their whole self-image because it was completely shattered because it was built on something that wasn't true. Technology is the second thing, which is actually important because dopamine is that chemical in your brain that makes you know that you're happy, lets you know that you actually feel good. And that's where, alcoholics, drug addicts, gambling addicts, all of that kind of stuff, that releases dopamine. But what also releases dopamine is social media. And so this generation was raised in the social media era, so they're addicted to the like. So every time you get a notification that someone commented or liked your post or your tweet or your Instagram picture or something like that, that kind of raises dopamine. But the thing I think that's most important is really impatience. This generation is accused of being entitled, but I would argue that they're really not entitled as much as they are impatient. And we as adults or elders need to kind of practice empathy when you kind of look at that. If you think about it, they grew up in a generation where everything was immediate. They had microwaves. You know, our parents cooked from scratch. They had McDonald's, you know, so everything was instantaneous. We had to wait till Saturday to watch cartoons. And if you was like James Letharius and you fucked up during the week, you couldn't even watch cartoons on Saturday. You had to wait another week. And, you know, then they had the 24-hour cartoon, you know. And so, you know, we had to look in the paper to see what's coming at what the next movie was coming out and wait for the weekend and see what time it played. They got Netflix and Showtime and Stars and all this kind of stuff. And so everything really became instantaneous. And so they never really had to practice any type of patience, because everything that they wanted, they grew up in a generation, they can get it kind of instantaneously. And so that was really the thing, I think, that when you look at millennials and you talk about the concept around entitlement, I think it's probably more kind of impatient because they grew up in a society and at a time where you didn't have to actually wait for things. And so they weren't. And so it particularly affects them or impacts them when it comes to the real world and the job world. You know, so, you know, when they were in school, their parents could come and get the teacher to change the grade or to do whatever to manipulate the system to make it work for their kids. But they can't do that when these millennials became adults and they got into the real world and the workforce, and they wanted things like, you know, immediate change, or they wanted like love. There are some things that can't be instantaneous, like a microwave. And so it really kind of frustrates them because they were used to that particular thing. And now, of course, the real world, there are some things that really aren't instantaneous. That's my 2 cents.
Good stuff.
All right, but this whole
Wait, yeah, because I call it the microwave society is what I call it, because it's. But now look, he's not speaking about you. Okay, I know you said what millennials are, but I get what he's saying. I call it the microwave society. Everything is now.
But let me
and there ain't nothing wrong because I like.
Let me say this though.
Warming up me something in the microwave real quick.
I think what we're saying is all relevant, but the biggest thing is parents. I think the kids nowadays who struggle and look for the quick thing don't have a solid structure in place. They may have parents and they may know their mother and dad and things of that such nature, but they may not get the time or the attention, and they revert to the quick thing, as opposed to when you have a parent or, you know, parents in place that can handle the things you need to handle, the structure is better off. I think what I notice, because I have a daughter, is when I chose to be a single father and her mother be a single mother, the interactions were different. Because we interacted, but the interactions were different. And they were different from the standpoint of me parenting from a single father mentality. Now, within the past 4 years, I've been in the house with my daughter, and the conversations are different. And because I'm parenting from a family, you know, husband type situation as opposed to a single father, and I'm in the house with her mother, so it is a difference in conversations. So I think that the hardships come in the challenges you see day to day, because of course they're not gonna struggle with bullies in the neighborhood or you know what I'm saying, like you said, being a latchkey school kid and having to cook when they get home, and, you know, being able to, you know, take care of yourself till your mom got home, and my mom came home for an hour and then go to another job, you know what I'm saying, and be there all night, you feel me? So I definitely understand it's different, because I can pick my daughter up from school at any time of the day. If she called me at 9 o'clock, I can be like, okay, with my job, and leave. I never had that luxury with my mother, you know what I'm saying? And I knew that, and I acted accordingly to make sure that I stayed out of trouble so that my mom didn't have to leave work and come get me, you know what I'm saying? And that was something that she instilled in me, you know what I'm saying? So we can instill those things in our children with structure now because of the structure our mother gave us. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, she told me she couldn't come get me, or like you said, she wasn't coming to get me out of jail. So I used that accordingly. I can't tell my daughter that, but I also gotta tell her, like, hey, listen, daddy be here for you at any time, but make sure you're defending yourself. I don't ever want you to be the aggressor in the situation. If you're around somebody that's aggressive, if you do your best to move away from them, move away from them. But if you have to defend yourself, then don't worry about daddy coming to get you, because I will. That's not what my mom told me. My mom told me, if you get in trouble, I ain't coming to get you. She told me just like that straight up. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't, it was just a different way. You know what I'm saying? Because she didn't have the ability to call my dad and my dad say that. You feel me? She had just her to say, like, listen, I'm at work. I need this job. I can't leave this job. If you get in trouble and I gotta leave this job, it's gonna be a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like when I get home, it's gonna be a problem.
But here's the whole point of this particular dialogue is based on that scenario, right? Our parents, number one, you didn't want to get in trouble because of the repercussions that you were going to face when mama or daddy, you know, whoever disciplined you got home. You know what I mean? I didn't get in trouble because I knew that leather belt was sitting on that rack waiting on me. You know what I'm saying?
Or around his waist.
And it wasn't going to be, no. I wish you would be with my belt. I wish. You know what I mean? That leather belt she had was ridiculous. But, you know, you have those kids versus being able to coddle, you know what I mean? Not make them, they don't fear any repercussions. You know what I mean? These kids now, the parents, teacher call, say your child is failing, the parent is going to blame it on the teacher. You know what I'm saying? Something happened at school, the parent come up there and raising Cain with the school without even finding out what exactly the child did. You know what I mean? You know, those sense of, so that creates a sense of entitlement to that child because there's never any repercussions to what you're doing. You know what I mean? And it's not no collar, not no font. It's, hey man, you know what I mean? No matter what the scenario is, there gotta be repercussions to it. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, kids of certain ages, you know, all the different groups, millennial, whatever he said, but other ones were, you know what I mean? They were just different. There were different consequences, and it just, you know. And then you got the system. I think somebody brought up earlier about how the system then comes in, and now they want to lock you up for disciplining your child. You know what I mean? You got the Karens call the neighbors if you know what I mean? It's just such a difference in the times. But we got to move on because.
Well, can I say one thing?
Good dog, Sean.
The only difference with the other generations and the millennials and the new generations is one thing, and it's one word. It's called respect.
Entitlement.
Right? We have respect, and we had a certain level of respect.
But why did you have that respect?
Because you understood that, respect for the parents, respect for your elders, respect for anybody that's been doing something that you're trying to do. You be like, I'm gonna give you respect because of the fact that I had to do that.
No, you had to do it because
fear.
But
slavery.
Fear brings respect.
Boom.
Everything's because of slavery.
Came from the fear of mama, daddy, grandparents,
slavery.
The neighbor on the corner. You know what I mean? The paddling in the schools.
Slavery.
I mean, it was a fear factor.
I'm talking about
these kids now have no fear of anything. So
Beating
don't
your child is slavery.
But I have respect for you as an elder, though.
Slavery.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, I would have respect for somebody as an elder, an older person.
Yep.
Anybody older than me.
Wait. Stop. So wait.
No.
Slavery? Having respect is slavery?
Yeah, that's the problem. That's why we got
The thing is
issues.
this, right?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
See, you're confusing abuse with respect. No, that's what we're using. We're using force and saying that it's respect.
It's not forced.
No, but that's my point. Remember when I said earlier that the reality is your grandparent, your parent, they're only a few degrees away from slavery, right? So that concept of discipline is not a natural concept to your authentic people. You get what I'm saying?
But fear does not mean discipline. See, me as a black man,
Okay.
you
Black American, but go ahead.
Your father as well.
All right.
The bass in my voice breeds fear. I don't even have to raise my hand. And see, that's how I grew up. Where my father only hit me 4 times in my life.
Right.
But guess what? His voice
You remember
was the
all 4
voice of
times.
God. And that's what gave that. My father
Slavery.
had to raise his hand. It's just that I knew
but
that was a man that spoke in that
But
house.
there's a difference between respect and fear. Some of y'all, the examples that you're
But that's
giving
what
is
I'm
that
saying.
you feared your parents. that's not necessarily respect.
That's not respect.
I think you fear the consequences.
No, the fear, the
But
consequences.
but see, that's what I'm saying. There's nothing wrong with. I understand the fear of consequences. That's people in general. That's adults to this day. You can go to jail just by understanding that, man, if I do this, I'm gonna go to jail. That makes sense. What I'm saying is you're utilizing the fact that getting beat out of fear or whatever you do out of consequence is respect. That's not the same thing.
No,
That's,
you're right.
And,
And
that's
but-
all I'm. That's
But
what I'm
let me
trying
take
to
let me
get at.
let- can I
We're not
can I
saying
take
to
that a
beat
step
him.
further? Can I take it a step further?
Go ahead.
So I like what he's saying. I can't see, so I don't know who's saying it, but I like what he's saying because when you think about it, the actual thought or action of whipping somebody as a black culture, we got that from slavery.
Of course, yeah.
And so when we beat our kids, it's because they did something wrong. The same exact thing that slave masters did to slaves when they got out of control. They beat the shit out of them.
That's all I'm
And
saying.
And so
gentlemen.
whipping your
Wait,
so
let's
whipping our
let me
kids,
finish, let me
especially to the point where some of us have kind of gotten and using extension cords and all of these kind of whips. That's exactly what we got from the slave masters. That's not something that was happening in Africa. That's not a discipline technique that happened in most African cultures. That's what we got from slavery, and we still teach it to this day. And it's problematic because it breeds fear, just like it breeds fear in the slaves.
Oh no, I agree with you. I agree with you there when you're using that analogy. But I'm kind of let's look at today's analogy, and instead, like he said, back in the day, if the teacher called, the school called your parents was going at you. The parents wasn't going at the teacher. Now we're in a timeout. Let me talk to little Johnny and say, hey Johnny, this is I talk to you, but it has to be some type of consequences. And it don't mean that you're beating them.
Correct.
Whatever they
That's
may
my
like.
point.
Like you said, hey, my kid likes fucking PlayStation 4, and you're on PlayStation 4. You like the kids like their iPhone, and they always texting. But guess what? Here's the consequence. No, I'm not beating you, but I'm taking something away from you that you love.
Yeah, I'm disciplining you.
That's the
I'm teaching you.
So
Right.
there's a difference. I understand that in this generation of older people, we were beat. And I'm not saying that these men are here beating their kids, because I clearly don't think that. But they've learned how to discipline their kids in a millennial way, like this
Right.
brother said.
JT said he two-pieced his son.
Yeah, but I think the thing is,
Every now and then,
Bring
need
the
two pieces
biscuit.
every now and then.
yeah, but I think where we missing
But I didn't do it all the
where-
time.
Where we missing it is we missing what we saying as respect as a human being, right? When I was younger, whatever how I was taught, I grew up in Brooklyn. You walk outside, I'm gonna respect you
We
as a
know,
man.
Sean.
I'm
We
gonna respect
know.
you as a man, respect you as a man, respect you as a woman, whatever. I'm from Brooklyn, I'm gonna love it till I die. At the end of the day, I had to have respect for people, right? But I can respect you and I can lose respect for you in a matter of a minute, a second, or 3 seconds. This generation automatically just have no respect. Period.
Well, I don't
That's
wanna-
what I'm talking
and
about.
I don't want to make that a blanket
I think
statement. I don't want to make that a blanket.
One more comment. I think that they define respect differently. I think that we define it in our generation of how we defined it, and I think that they actually define it differently. Like we defined it, we respected an elder simply because they were older, not because they earned it, not because they deserved it, but simply because they were older in age above us. We were taught to respect them, and I think that this generation don't believe that that's true. I think the other thing that you have to add is that when you're using examples, you have to use it from the same generation. And so when you use this example from our generation, when our teachers, called our parents and said whatever, and our parents got in our ass about that, we also had a generation of teachers who gave a fuck about us at that time. This generation of teachers today don't care for kids like the generation before. And you have teachers who are younger, you have teachers who are 21 years old. You never had a young teacher. When we were growing up, every teacher was old, and they looked old, And now you have kids that's 21, 22, just fresh out of college that's teaching, kids today, and they don't have as much love and compassion and concern for kids too. And so it's not like teachers are always telling the truth today. And I work in the school system. I do a lot of consulting. So I know that the school system is way different today than it was the school system that we grew up in, as Gen Xers. So you have to kind of look at that too.
You do. I agree with you. But my point is, there's situations a lot of times, and I worked in the school system as a police officer for a long time, and you saw parents immediately just take the kid's side without even hearing the other side. They came up there with venom in their eyes based on what their child said. You know what I mean? They didn't even care what the truth was. They were just going to defend their child. You know what I mean? So there's no consequence to that child. That child can sit back with a smile. Yeah, now what? Because they know they just got away with bloody murder because now mom is going to come up there and raise Cain for something that he really did. But they don't even take the time to even figure that junk out. So, yeah, you're correct. It doesn't have to be whooping. Just like I said, yeah, Ben, if you had boys, trust me, at one point, you're going to two-piece them. I'm just trying to tell you. Because you're going to get them, you're going to make sure that there's no swelling.
I've been two-pieced.
And I bet your wife at some point is going to have to straighten them girls out, and it ain't gonna be
she
pretty.
did this morning.
See what I'm talking about?
Upside down.
So it's not necessarily
upside down.
So fear. You know what I mean? I respected my mother, but I feared the consequences that would come. You know what I mean? And based on the topic of the conversation in terms of getting it out the mud as opposed to not. You know what I mean? It's like, you have to really weigh that. But I think what Anthony said earlier is, yeah, there's a different way of parenting now. It is. You have to evolve as a parent. You have to see the different sides. Excuse me. I have to do what Ben said earlier, you know what I mean, in terms of how to talk to them, the communication. All that's correct. Nobody is doubting that, but still making sure that those kids have some accountability of their actions, because if there's no accountability, that's when you have that level of disrespect, and that's when you have these situations we see today where the people do certain things and we're hating the police, but we don't even look at what the person did. We automatically say they shouldn't have done that. But what about this? Yeah, but they still shouldn't have done that. And that's that sense of entitlement that I'm talking about from this current generation. They don't ever want to see what you did wrong. They just want to say the consequences shouldn't have been X, Y, Z. But what about what you did wrong?
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? What about that part? Are we not going to even talk about it?
That's the lack of accountability.
Ben, as a millennial, what's your definition of respect? Because when I'm talking about respect, meaning you start in the household, but when you get outside, I feel like you should give people, I don't believe that people got to earn my respect. I believe that as a human being, I'm going to give you respect, and if you can lose my respect. What's your definition of respect being a millennial?
I really think it depends on each person. I mean, you can't go off of respect. You can respect somebody your same age or older. It just depends on the person and what the level of life they're living, because you have to be shown sometimes of what success is. And it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be material. It's the mindset. If you can look at somebody and they can look, maybe they don't make a lot of money, but they're happy, you respect the fact that they're happy because whatever they're doing, they enjoy. You can respect that. You get what I'm saying? So it's different levels of everything, like love and everything, levels of respect. So it's like you can respect someone's job. I respect police officers. Yeah, it's a lot of bad apples, but it's not a lot of bad apples. It's always a lot of bad situations that end up being lack of accountability on the person. Like you gave the example of the young lady in the park. Of course, the whole world was like, oh, no, they didn't. Black women are unprotected. I get you. I understand. Cool. Boom. Uh-oh. Sister, why'd you do that? Uh-oh. You're fucked up. See? Now, all of a sudden, everybody turn on her again. Instead of doing that, won't you just wait to see the whole story? When you find out facts and accountability.
And speaking of which, man, I just found out today that Buddy was married.
Oh, that wasn't his wife. That wasn't his wife.
I kind of figured that.
I'm gonna put this down. I'm putting this down.
Look. Hey, he didn't.
That's why he took that ticket.
He didn't realize that doggone shit. That body. He didn't realize that body cam was on.
11 o'clock, you go and answer those
Yeah.
out there. No.
But Sean, getting in regards to what you're saying, that's how we grew up. we respected. You respect somebody
Certain level
on
of-
site, and then their actions would warrant. Would warrant whether or not you kept that respect. But I also understand what Michael Andre is saying.
But I see it.
They're not just giving respect for the hell of it. Like we gave. I mean, and you respected that wino because he was older. But you usually lost a little respect for him as time went on.
That's fine.
Millennials, oh damn, y'all got me saying this shit. The younger generation, they not respecting him off sight. Something has to be done in their eyes. In other words, you have to earn their respect. We grew up as giving respect off rip.
Yeah, I ain't earning nobody respect.
see,
Like I keep it real with you. Like
the problem I had with it though, the problem I had with the millennials is that respect is something I think it's a moral barometer, and
fact.
just having any type of spiritual beliefs and learning right from wrong. You give every man a certain level of respect. One of the biggest things I find with not the millennials that are going to college or having stuff together, have a good job and having stuff together, they're living a clean life. I think a lot of them, it's a rebel without a cause. Rage, you just have rage. So every man you see, be it a cop, be it a teacher, whoever, I see the way they talk to some teachers. I was, oh hell no.
But you know what?
And I said I go upside their head.
But you know what? Those that's going to college, doing everything right, yada yada yada, they ain't just giving respect off the rip.
So, but the
I
thing
don't.
is,
No,
this
no,
is
what
the
I'm saying
problem.
about the
Same
that's
people.
the issue I have.
Yeah.
But the issue of not giving respect is
Yo.
that they want it, but they don't want to give it.
Right. So that's
There's a way
why.
to do anything, because if I go up to you, big man, and I say, hey, man, put your hands up or get your ass on the motherfucking wall, you can have a different attitude. But the same thing when your first is a rage, like they think they have a right to tell the teacher, F you, cuss at them, or do whatever.
Yeah, I
You
ain't with
don't.
it.
That's
Yeah.
not, that's,
No, that's I agree.
Top five.
My
I
thing
agree.
is this too, right? At the end of the day, what you said is a key point, right?
Yeah.
Yo, you don't want to give respect, but now you expect to be respected.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'm not built like that. So I remember everything. You understand what I'm saying? Because there comes a key point when things become a full circle, where you come back and you need me. But I'm gonna remember the fact that you ain't had no respect. So fuck you.
What's-
Well, yeah,
but a lot of them just
I don't-
don't.
Yo,
I don't-
and that's how I get down.
They don't understand respect. They
No.
really, if it's not on the internet and they don't read up
I
on
don't- I don't think
a lot of
that's-
them
No,
understand.
here the thing is.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm kind of like him, but I do that with adults, not with younger people. Where if you just show
Younger
me
is crazy.
disrespect,
All
it's
of
fuck
them.
you. That's just me. But I'm lucky. I've been lucky to coach travel baseball and college baseball. Like I said, the majority of the kids I've been coaching was white. Off the rip, again, I'm dealing with 20-year-olds now, right? Off the rip, I'm a coach. I didn't know these kids from Adam. I had that respect. Now, I could have lost respect, like I saw some other coaches lose respect, but I gained even more of their respect because I was able to relate to them on their level. And I think that sometimes we as older people, the gift that we have to obtain is how to, relate to younger people on their level. And that's where I feel has been my gift to deal with, kids of all different ages. I've coached 8-year-olds all the way up to 20-some-year-olds. So it was all about, I was the cool coach. I understood how to relate on their levels. Like, I can't talk to a kindergartner about algebra
Right.
or trigonometry. You know what I'm saying? So I got to talk on your level. It's, I'm a Mason. So, in masonry.
Squirrel.
You got to
Oh,
talk later.
shit, yeah.
But the point
Talk
being
later.
is,
Yeah, I'm supposed to do that.
where we look to the east, but the point being is that
Everything go to the
in masonry, we are taught that you meet on the level that they're at.
Right.
A 3 degree can't talk to a 32 degree.
There's
So
different
it's the
degrees
same
in life,
thing,
right.
But you have to learn. So in order for me, I'm here, I've experienced life, but now I have to be able to relate to you and talk to you on your level where we could both understand and have a conversation.
And that's the
Because-
normal generational communication, though.
Yeah, because we're gone from the days of do as I say.
Yeah.
We're gone from those days. But at the same time, if you're seeing me do what I say,
It's a whole different level.
then it's a different.
And that goes back to what you say, influence.
It goes back to influence.
There you go.
But I know we're gonna try to shut this down because I'm tired.
Damn sure is.
Yeah. I tried 30
but
minutes
real
ago.
quick,
One more
real
thing with
quick.
that attack, what attack we had
That's
on
how it
it.
ain't
I
started.
just wanna say that wasn't-
We had about 10 one more things.
That wasn't us. First off, that wasn't millennials.
Discipline out of love. It wasn't slavery. Slave owners did it out of fear and hate. There's
Exactly.
two different things. One's out of love and one's out of fear
Don't
and hate.
don't nobody respond to that. Nobody respond.
Millennials delegation rests.
I want to thank this panel.
We rest.
And for y'all.
We're gonna give you that chance.
Okay.
Let's go ahead. We'll get to going again.
We rest.
Said this to millennials and Michael Andre. The Holy Book reads, spare the rod, spoil the child. They didn't have extension cords in slavery. Didn't have electricity. So they just wanted to point it out. I know you want to
Millennials, we rest.
Sean, do not respond to this, all right? Michael Andre said, these Brooklyn niggas built different. Don't say that. Don't say that.
I mean, it's a fact.
Hold up. And then he said, then he said, every generation has had problems with the generation that comes after. The shit ain't new. And then he said the cop is smoking crack.
Yeah, hey.
You and Michael Andre, where y'all supposed to be now?
You see, I'm from the Bronx, so I can understand where he come from. So I understand.
You
him.
understand.
You know, it's like
Respect.
I understand him. I understand him.
Yo, I'm gonna go do what I do, say what I say I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna help whoever I can help. But once you disrespect me, fuck you.
Top five.
Once again, millennials haven't said anything.
Top five.
Millennials have been done talking for the last 15 minutes.
Top five.
Just want to put it
All
there.
right, so listen. Right before I get to top five, I'm just gonna make a quick statement. Y'all remember? Shucks, I guess it's been a year now, right? Rashad Brooks situation. I think I know I said from day one, and then after the cop came in the next week and backed everything I said up. We said from day one those guys were gonna. There wouldn't be no charges. Dude, they got fired too prematurely. They were gonna get whether they get the job, want the jobs back or not, they're gonna get paid for all that time they missed, and they're gonna sue the city. And everything we said a year ago has all come to fruition. Yeah, I mean, folks don't want to hear we talk about sometimes, but sometimes when telling you just simple facts, you know what I mean? It was gonna be considered a good shoot. We don't want to hear it. I had a conversation with ladies in here earlier, and she was talking about, oh, that Rashad Brooks, they just did that. And I was like, yeah, well, we knew that was gonna happen, boy. And I saw her whole demeanor change. I just stopped talking about it because I just saw she don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear the truth. You know what I mean? We don't want to be accountable. You know what I mean? If certain things, if every action causes all day long. So with that being said, man,
That's what I
and of
teach my
course we didn't get a
kids.
chance to talk about the ladies shooting all them people, but really we don't have enough information on it. I really want to find out what that shooting was about.
It's about shit.
Don't even talk about it. We'll talk.
Yeah.
We'll talk about her next week.
Yeah, that's brand new. So anyway, top five. So I was in Jacksonville, Florida the other day, like I said, and I was jamming and I said, ooh, this is gonna be a great top five because the songs just kept popping in. Right? Your top five new edition songs. Your top five new edition songs. And you can add Bobby Solo if you want, or BBD if you want, because they all, to me, is all new edition. Top five new edition songs of all time. He said, can I Google?
I'll go first. In no particular order. Mr. Telephone Man. Can You Stand the Rain?
Yes, sir.
Hit Me Off.
Hit Me Off, okay.
Forgot about that.
My Kind of Girl. And last but not least, I gotta throw this in because this is and it ain't new edition, but this is my favorite song and I like singing at karaoke. When Will I See You Smile Again by Ricky Bell. I love singing that song. I love that song. I
counts.
love
That counts. That
singing
counts.
that song
give you a
right
top
there.
five.
That's
That
exactly.
counts.
You know what I'm saying? I love singing that song at
Right
karaoke.
here.
Yeah, I'll give you a top 5 real quick. It starts in the beginning. It starts with Candy Girl.
Facts.
It
Facts.
starts with, when you talk about New Edition, you got to talk about the Any Heartbreak album because that had Macy all the hits. That's how they got recreated. So you got to go with Boys to Men. These are the things from Boys to Men. Can You Stand the Rain? If It Isn't Love.
Okay.
And, because If It Isn't Love is a classic. Mr. Telephone Man was definitely that, but Any Heartbreak.
Any heartbreak. Any heartbreak. Yeah. Who next?
I guess I'll go.
Go for it.
As the millennial delegation once again.
Got that millennial goo. See how quickly you was able to see how quickly you was able to Google that. I can't even Google that fast.
Look. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now I know a few songs. I had to block them out when I was younger because my mom used to listen to them all the time. So I had to grow up sheltered. I know this is not New Edition, but they are part of New Edition. So was it BBD?
Yeah.
Poison.
It's part of New Edition to me, like I said.
Yeah, so Poison. I used to try to dance to that. I was terrible. What is it? Candy Girl. Can You Stand the Rain? Mr. Telephone Man. And the one you just said, smile when will I see you smile again? And I'll give Mr. Sensitivity with Ralph Transvant just because it was a funny song to me when I was a kid for some reason. So yeah.
All right.
Well, Candy Girl, Can You Stand the Rain? I like that one, yeah, Mr. Positivity, but the last one, Bobby Brown, he's part of New Edition. I like It's My Prerogative.
That's 5.
Nope,
That sound like 3 to me.
that's it.
Come on, man, Brooklyn. You can do better than that.
Everybody hate Brooklyn, but they gotta come there.
Shit, Manhattan.
But now you got 5 over there? No?
All right, I got them. Candy Girl, Is It Love, Boys to Men, Poison, Can You Stand the Rain?
These are the things that change.
Mm-hmm.
Because Johnny Gill sang lead on that song.
Oh, you already get that was your 5? You already gave your 5?
Maturing without growing. That's where Boys and Men got their name from that song.
From that song.
From that song, yeah.
That was off the Any Heartbreak album.
Facts.
Yep.
Look at
Michael
y'all
Bivins.
passing knowledge. See how
about
we
that?
bridge
look,
the gap?
But he said it the right way.
Look at that, see?
He didn't say, you ain't understand that boy was from Look, young ass nigga, you don't know nothing, do you?
You gotta say it.
Yeah, Sam, I'm a coach.
All right, damn. Poison. What? Bobby Brown, Every Little Step I Take. Damn, Candy Girl and Mr. I'm gonna go with Mr. Telephone Man. Was Any Heartbreak the one where they did the video?
Mm-hmm.
They was doing the stepping.
That was they was on the mopeds with the Any Heartbreak video. If It Isn't Love is when they did the dances.
If It Isn't Love.
If It Isn't Love.
Boy, man.
Classic song.
You turn it on, everybody in the club trying to remember that video. Top 1 would have to be my man Bobby B, My Prerogative. Boy, that song has saved me many a night.
My prerogative.
That song
my
has saved my
prerogative.
life.
It became
I
a
do
slogan.
what I want
Tell
to
you,
do.
it saved my, yeah. I was able to,
Joint.
yeah. From finishing.
My prerogative.
After sing that song, oh wait, let me sing this song. I feel that. Let me get my mind off of it. It's my prerogative. Oh yeah, works every time.
Yeah.
Number 1 fan got Candy Girl, Can You Stand the Rain, Is This the End, Boys to Men, If It Isn't Love. God dog, she stole my 5.
And Bobby Brown, Truth About a Roni.
Yeah, Roni. That's what I was gonna
That was
say.
my
That's
other
another
one.
Got Can You
karaoke.
Stand the Rain
classic.
If It Isn't Love, Candy Girl, Telephone Man, Poison, Rock With You.
All right, Shay has. I need 3 more. Shay has Cool It Now,
Okay.
and You're Not My Kind of Girl. Give me 3 more. We got any more up there?
Well, while she doing that, I got Can You Stand the Rain? Is This the End? If It Isn't Love, My Prerogative, and my all-time favorite. I might listen. If I listen to it once, I gotta rewind at least 4 or 5 more times. Candy Girl. Candy Girls is just a.
Video to that.
Oh man, that's just a straight classic, boy. I remember I just came back from Germany when that thing came out. Well, I was,
Shay, that's a great one. Don't Be Cruel.
Don't Be Cruel.
2 more, so we can get up out of here. Come on.
Yeah, we trying to lead, Shay.
Come on, Shay.
Say y'all made her wait. Y'all gotta wait.
It's only I look. It's not 11 o'clock. Look, she in Birmingham. It's not 11 o'clock where she at yet. Oh, cause it's 12 o'clock here. Oh man, my gym time is done for tomorrow.
Why we waiting on Shay's next 2? Who you wanna go to? Sugar Sean.
Let them know what you're doing, bro.
Listen, yo, we outside. Sugar Sean is back with all his shows. They getting crazy. So right now, we got this Thursday, we in Alpharetta. You know, we got the comedy show in Alpharetta at the coffee shop. It's going to be live. Make sure you get your tickets on Eventbrite. It's going down on August 25th. On September 20th, I'm back in the building at the Uptown Comedy Corner. It's about to be crazy. Recession-proof comedy. Me and my team, we out here. We getting that going. And on the September 28th, I'm outside in McDonough, Georgia. We got something at the winery. So make sure you stay tuned to my page. And I got a lot more things coming up. And I got a lot more theaters. And we about to do something real big because, you know, I'm outside. So follow me on Sugar, SUGA, SEAN, Riley. And that's my Instagram. And make sure you you follow WIW _ comedy. You know, you're still going to be able to follow a lot of our stuff on that as well. All right? It's on.
Yeah, it is.
We out. We back.
Oh, all right. Again, I'm the Captain Kurt on Facebook. JT already gave my government name out earlier. Hope y'all didn't remember that. But again, I am NYG for Life Atlanta Sports and Entertainment. I run the second largest New York Giants fan club in the country, according to meetup.com, and I am the #1 in Atlanta, Georgia. We also host football watch parties called Any Given Sunday at Monticello and Marietta, and the Bermuda Bar, the now new Bermuda Bar in Duluth as well. So we got everything on 285 and above on lock for football watch parties. We got 3 brunches left, praise God. Daytalk Sundays at Monticello. We do a brunch day party there as well as Sunday school with LaFoy Grant. We do the karaoke and the partying as well, and also we do the morning after brunch party that's up there at the Bermuda Bar in Duluth. So we got brunches and day parties going on for the next couple of weeks before we do football. So if you're a football fan, like he's a Steeler fan, I do have a fan club for you. You already know that. But either way, if you're a football fan of any
I'm
team.
not a Steeler fan. I'm the Steeler fan.
I got it. If you're a football fan and you support your teams, pull up to Monticello in Marietta or the Bermuda Bar in Duluth. If you're a Giant fan, pull up to Monticello in Marietta or the Bermuda Bar in Duluth. Also, we got the Cowboys representing. We got the Chicago Bears representing as well. And that's really what we got going on. Like I said, I'm not a promoter. I'm just a curator of energy. My name is Curtis Smith. Thank y'all for having me.
You gave your real name that time.
Curator of energy.
Because everybody.
I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
it.
Curator
I like
of energy.
it.
That's dope.
I like it.
I'm talking about
Ask a cop.
Just chilling as usual, enjoying the retired life.
Join the retired.
Well, let me
life.
say this again before I leave. I said I was going to come back because y'all Negroes do not know how to keep up time. You guys have just ruined my gym appointment with Coach Ball doing these stairs tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. So I won't be doing them tomorrow. But if you guys want me to
Tell
come
him it was
back,
Angelo's fault.
I will make sure that I come on. I'll come on y'all time.
Absolutely.
And I make sure I take a nap. And I tell my people to take a nap. This has definitely been a great discussion. Seeing a sister here, the brothers here doing some great things, and the people out there follow these brothers. Classic Conversations. This is definitely a good thing that's going on in the community. So spread the word that these brothers out here spreading knowledge.
Let's
about
get
what's
it.
going
Man,
on.
tell Reggie
Appreciate
Ball
that,
I
homie.
said hello, man.
And,
That's bananas,
we will
man.
talk. Yeah,
Vanessa, what you doing Thursday?
Straight up.
So listen, one thing I want to point out, number one, is Dwayne, number one fan, MJ. You still have not registered for fantasy football. You must have did it recently. You ain't did yours yet, and I hadn't resent it to your new email address. If y'all scared, say Red Rock. You know what I mean?
I'll do it tomorrow.
But what we're gonna do, JT, what I like to do next week is we're gonna have a football show, fantasy football. We'll do our draft live on the show, and we can discuss the stuff, players, and you know what I mean, as we go along. But we're gonna do the draft live to ensure that you guys participate. You can be, you know what I mean. You can't run if you're right here. So
I like that one.
let's do the fantasy football live. KK set it up like we asked him to, so it's set up. Let's do the draft live. You know what I mean? Dwayne, we feel we get that thing on the screen somehow. And that should be a lot of fun. And let's,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because the season right around the corner.
Yeah.
So,
Like
but we
that.
need you all to register your teams so we can get this thing cracking. All right. Monday night, August 29th. That's just coming Monday, ain't it?
Yes, it is, bro.
August 29th, the 9th annual Comics Rock Convention will be at the Ford Theater, 621 King Arnold Road in Hateville. It's gonna be a dope show. If you look at the lineup is crazy. It's gonna be a bunch of comedians, man, presenting, speaking. DC Curry is gonna be one of the presenters. Uptown Comedy Corner is being honored for Club of the Year. Shula King for, I think, Internet. Toure. And then you got the legends, Thea Vidal, which is going to be awesome. Michael Collier.
Michael Collier, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a real dope show. Get your tickets. I got everything posted on my site. But yeah, August 29th, Comics Rock Convention. 9th Annual Comics Rock Convention. So that should be real cool. I was surprised when I learned that my partner here to my left, Jae Tea, is going to be the presenter. So him and Mr. Inappropriate. So that should be real cool.
It's gonna be dope, bro.
I don't know. Do I supposed to have think I should prepare a written speech?
Now speak
Like,
from the heart.
Speak from, yeah. I
Speak
think I
from
do
the heart.
better.
Yeah, speak from the
I
heart.
think I do better just speaking, but we'll see.
Oh,
What you? I don't know.
I forgot one more
what you
thing.
think, JT? You're a veteran of these things. You know what I mean?
Speaking from the heart, bro. So I mean, you can write some pointers down so you don't forget. You know, we of age now. Sometimes you forget some shit.
Yes, Lord.
Cause ain't nothing worse than getting off the stage after you done had the mic and be like, "Damn it, I forgot to."
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Write some pointers down, but speak from the heart.
Start there, right?
Speak from the heart.
I wanted to shout out. I forgot to shout out my homies. Shout out to Yandy and Man DC for having me last night. We gonna have something popping over there too at the Dancing Crepe. So you know, we moving and let's all stay together as black people and get it going and just make things happen. You know what I mean?
We have ATL's hottest voting has started. I'll let JT run off all his many nominations. But the one I can speak on is Uptown Comedy Corner for Comedy Club of the Year, and DJ Ant Love, our host DJ, resident DJ. is nominated for DJ of the Year. You know what I mean? Folks don't know Aunt Love means you ain't been to Uptown. Because Aunt Love is the man, been around for a long time.
Forever.
You know, back on Peachtree. Yeah, I remember he was I'm gonna tell you how far back he go. Bone Crusher. Folks don't know Bone Crusher was a DJ at Uptown on Peachtree. You know what I mean? Bone Crusher was the DJ. Aunt Love was kind of like, you know, came behind him in terms of when he wasn't there, Aunt would step in. So that's how long he been around, man. So big shout outs to him. And we need y'all to go out there and vote. All right. And speaking of voting, you know what time it is. Register to vote. It's true that Herschel backed out the debate already? I saw something about Herschel Walker movie to back it out the debate, but probably to his best interest.
Smartest movie ever made.
All I can say is
I was looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That shit was going to be some of the best comedy.
I'm sure Warnock was,
That was
too.
going to be some of the best comedy ever.
What you got, Teasy?
All right, man. As he said, ATL's hottest. The nominations are out. You can start voting now. All you got to do is go to atlhottest.com. As you heard him say, Uptown Comedy Corner, ATL's Hottest Club, DJ Ant Love, ATL's Hottest DJ. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. They didn't put Ask a Cup up there, homie, but you know you're going to be up there if we get it. We are nominated for Best Online Talk Show / Podcast. I am nominated as a Hottest Actor. I was surprised at this one because I haven't done any shows in a while, but Hottest Model, Hottest Host, and also Hottest Online Personality. Me and my wife, we were nominated again because we are defending. Right now, we are ATL's Hottest Power Couple. We're nominated again to defend our title on that. But shout out, man, to Brian Marshall. I don't think he's still looking, but this dude started this thing 11, 12 years ago, and he's been carrying it. I know he do a lot of it out of his pocket, so shout out to him for the whole ATL's Hottest platform. For me, Honk for Jesus, movie that's coming out, I think it's September 9th. It's going to be on Peacock. And your boy's in it. I actually had forgotten about it. Sitting looking at ESPN and saw myself on the commercial, on the trailer. It was pretty dope because I had totally forgotten about it. But yeah, if you get a chance, check that out. Peacock, I think is free for the first 14 days. Get it on the 9th and check your boy out. Movie on September 18th. Movie premiere coming out. Once he shut this down, you'll see the tickets up there. That's how you go buy the tickets. Got to buy the tickets under my name. Play coming up. Shell of a Man. Gonna have that cast up here in a couple of weeks, trying to iron that out with Tina Bridges, shout out. We had a cast up here to talk about that. And that's it. That's it. I'm surprised I was able to remember all that, but that's what's going down with me for the time being. A couple other things in the works, but we're gonna wait on that. Gave you enough. Please get out there and vote. I'm hoping. I heard that I was actually something with ATL's Cigar Week. I actually got nominated for something there. I just have to figure out what it was. I hadn't found out yet. So I'll let you know about that next week so you can get those votes in. So, yeah, I think that's going to do it. Everybody good? Good. Classic Conversations with Jae Tea and Lo, and we out. You dig?
Holla.
Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. Classic conversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never never know which way the rhetoric is going. Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is gonna go. It's Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo. You never know which way the rhetoric is going. Classic Konversations with Jae Tea and Lo.